Dad.
Honey, what's wrong?
I got in an accident.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
Okay, did you call the police yet?
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna call an advocate and you can tell us both at the same time, okay?
Hey, Sarah, your dad told me that you need help.
So, is there anything that I need to do, or...?
Just focus on getting better.
With an advocate on your side, you're never alone.
Today's the day! And look who I just met.
Hey, Dad.
You deserve a worry-free recovery. You deserve an advocate.
Let's talk Utah Jazz basketball, because it seems like every day produces a new rumor about Donovan Mitchell. And is he going to be traded? Where's he going to be traded to? Who's coming back in return? And Jake, when you look at this situation and you hear all of these rumors, what goes through your mind when you hear that the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, what goes through my mind is that it's slow right now. You know, the sports cycle is really slow. I think that there's I know for a fact there's a thirst for news. There's a thirst for the next thing that's happening in this update. If you didn't hear that, you know, Kevin Durant is going to stay in Brooklyn. They're going to play the season out there. And then they're going to kind of go from there. That was a big update yesterday, and one we've been waiting for, and I think the league has been waiting for, and frankly, I think the fan base was waiting for of the NBA, and I think that, you know, I look around Twitter and I hear, you know, guys in Phoenix, you know, guys in New York, guys in Los Angeles, you know, tweeting about that the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. That's neat. I'm interested in having an unlimited supply of wings to eat every day, right? But that's not news. It's just not. I mean, the Lakers are not in a position to go and make a Knicks type offer, and they would be only able to participate as maybe a third team. But again, then you look at the Westbrook contract situation, and it doesn't make sense as to why the Jazz would be interested in working with the Lakers as a third team. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but my point just is that I think it's slow right now. I think people are desperate for NBA news, and they want that next big trade to happen. They want... You know, they want that, like, you know, that feeling when, like, go back to the Rudy Gobert trade. When Rudy Gobert was traded, we jumped on the show. I think it was like 2:30 in the afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock. And the world was on fire. The NBA world was on fire. Everyone was about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, that type of feeling and that type of momentum is what we just simply haven't had this offseason. Ever since that Rudy Gobert trade, it feels like the league has just come to a pause. And with all due respect to DeJounte Murray...
with all due
respect, this is why DeJounte Murray just wasn't some splash trade. I think that just didn't do it for people. So yeah, that's what I think about. I think that people are just hungry right now.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But the issue is when you have a hack in a different market that's like, oh, the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. Again, you know, I'm interested in losing 100 pounds. Is that going to happen? Probably not.
Right.
Are the Lakers trading for Donovan Mitchell? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you see is everybody trying to get their pound of flesh out of these rumors. Of course the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. Who would be surprised by that? But the thing that I don't understand about Jazz fans are you hear, oh, the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. He's going to the Lakers. It's happening. And it's like, this is a guy who routinely makes up rumors to get attention in another market. He's notorious for it. And you guys are like, oh, it's happening. Donovan Mitchell's not getting traded straight up to the Lakers. Are the Lakers a team that could be involved as a third? Potentially, sure they could. But are the Lakers trading, like this idiot was saying, Donovan Mitchell for Russell Westbrook and 2 unprotected first-round picks?
No.
Does that really seem like a trade that Danny Ainge is going to make? It does not. And then the Cleveland Cavalier rumor, the Cavs and Jazz are talking about Colin Sexton is what most people believe is happening, right? Like it makes no sense. The bottom line is very simple with Donovan Mitchell. There's one team who can offer Danny Ainge the kind of package he's looking for. It's the New York Knicks. It is really that simple. And I think the thing that I would say to Jazz fans is don't bite the hook on every single rumor. Don't do that. Like somebody was DMing me yesterday, hey, are we really getting Paul George and John Wall for Donovan Mitchell? Yes, that's happening.
How is that even possible?
Paul George and John Wall. The Clippers are sending Paul George and John Wall to the Jazz for Donovan Mitchell. And, well, we're also sending the Jazz are also sending the video coordinator, the team video. And one of their, like our third best beer vendor is being traded to the Clippers.
Right.
Like, do you understand how ridiculous these rumors are? And people just retweet and, come on, stop. Like, be better than this.
Yeah, and I think we see that in the media all the time, and I legit think that there's actually like good conversations to be had. That, to me, that's always been the shame in it, when we get these people who just make things up, or like saying, like, if you remember the Rudy Gobert rumor of like him or me, right? Donovan or me, and you guys have to choose. Rudy Gobert never said that. But what happened? That guy tweeted it, and everybody ran with it, right? And that's what happens in the media cycle. So that's why I say, if you're a Jazz fan, you just have to really pay attention to who the information you digest, how much credence you put into it. And I'm certainly not sitting here saying that we're, better than anybody, or we're the most right all the time, but I think our track record speaks for itself. I think we've been really reliable, and I think that it's just funny to watch, like when Woj or Windhorse or whoever in the media says something, people just run with it forever, and it's just not true. It's not news. It's not news. So I don't know, man. That's why I say, like, when people talk about, well, has Donovan hasn't said anything, that must be a bad sign. Why do you think he hasn't said anything? Because it doesn't behoove him, because people just make stuff up all the time. So that's the trouble in it. Now, as far as actual news, and as far as like, actual basketball stuff, this situation with the Nets to me is still super dynamic and super fluid. They come out yesterday and they say, hey, we had a meeting with KD. Everything's good. He's going to play here this year. And they're trying to send the message that he's going to play there for a minute, like a couple of seasons. But I think it's year to year, in my opinion. And I also think that Kevin Durant, certainly must have realized that, hey, this isn't going anywhere fast.
Right.
This isn't going anywhere, quickly. And I need to make the best of this situation as it's currently constituted, because there's not, like, when I look at the opportunities for Kevin Durant, the issue is the Nets actually have a really good team around him. Like, I don't think anyone doubts that.
Well, I think the thing that stands out to me about Kevin Durant is there was clearly a moment of clarity with Kevin Durant. I mean, it's very difficult to demand a trade and then, for the Nets to go and execute that and just think they're going to trade you just to trade you. And I think Kevin Durant came to the realization that, one, he was never going to end up in a situation where he was in a better situation than he has in Brooklyn, because that was not going to happen. Because, as we've talked about, very much like Donovan Mitchell, he's not leaving Utah to go to a better situation with the Knicks. That's just not happening.
Right.
The Jazz are in a better situation for Donovan Mitchell. He's the number one on that team. He's the star on that team. That's his locker room. Those are his teammates. If when you go to a new situation, you have to reacclimate. You have to figure out where you stand. You have to figure out where you fit in. Who's the leader in that locker room? Like, all that stuff is uncomfortable. On top of that, you look at a guy like Kevin Durant, and you're talking about trading this guy to places like Phoenix. Is Kevin Durant really the thing that Phoenix needs to get over the top? Well, they probably need Chris Paul to stay healthy.
Yeah.
If you look at all of the places that you've heard about with Kevin Durant, there was not a better situation than Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Claxton,
Seth Curry,
Patty Mills, Seth Curry. Like, you have a really talented roster in Brooklyn. And I think when you sit down in a room with guys like Steve Nash and Sean Marks, Joe Tsai and his wife, the owners of the Nets, Kevin Durant and his agent, you quickly start to realize that you can actually have a productive conversation and you can figure out a path forward. And I think when you look at where the Nets are and you look at what Sean Marks said yesterday, what he said was, we're focused on basketball and our partnership is going to continue. And Jake, I think for your guy, that's the exact right move for him to make.
Yeah, and look, I thought that I thought that the Nets did well here. I think they've absolutely held their water. Admittedly, like, Joe Tsai was not about to compromise when Kevin Durant said, hey, you got to choose me or you got to choose them. You notice that Joe Tsai came right out and made a statement and said, hey, we're going to stick with our people. You know, I'm going to stick with the front office that I have in place because I believe in these guys. And so by doing that, you showed Kevin Durant your commitment to your people and your team and your infrastructure. And I think that's also important. And I think that sent a clear message to Kevin Durant that the Nets were not going to be bullied by the situation. They were not ever saying to themselves, well, you know, it's Kevin Durant, so we just got to do whatever he wants. Because the problem is we already did whatever you wanted to do, Kevin, and you blew this situation up, or at least tried to, and now we've had to come in behind you and clean the whole thing up. And so, yeah, I am a Kevin Durant guy, and I do think, generally speaking, the basketball world really enjoys watching Kevin Durant put the ball in the hole. The problem is that this whole situation has kind of wrecked his reputation. And so I do wonder, if you're Kevin Durant, you know, is there not a lot of credence to saying, hey, you know what? I need to stop complaining. I need to stop trying to team hop. I need to stop trying to run from situations. And instead, I need to embrace my role as Kevin Durant, and I need to carry this team as far as possible. And whatever happens, happens. Because I still don't think that you can guarantee a championship on any team. Right? I mean, look at the LeBron Miami Heat team.
But are you really trying to guarantee a championship?
Well, that's what I think Kevin Durant's trying to do. Kevin Durant wants to be in a situation where the odds are extremely in his favor that he's going to win a championship.
That could absolutely be.
Right? Like, that's what he, to me, was looking for when he went to Brooklyn, which was, hey, I'm going to team up with Kyrie. We're going to put some guys around us, and we're going to go championship hunting. But the problem is the NBA is so good that's not how it works. You're one injury away on basically every team from not being a championship caliber team.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Kevin Durant went through.
But listen, I think when you look at where we are as we talk the latest NBA rumors, including Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant here on the Monty Show, presented by Devery Davis at Academy Mortgage, I think it's one of these situations where for Kevin Durant, it's now or never. You have to, I think you hit the reset button on Kevin Durant. You have to reestablish yourself as one of the baddest dudes in the NBA. And I think for Donovan Mitchell, he has to do the same thing. And I think going back to that Jazz situation, I don't think it's dissimilar to Kevin Durant because I still maintain 65-35, the Utah Jazz bring Donovan Mitchell to training camp. And I think if you bring Donovan Mitchell to camp, he's got to prove that he's that dude. He's got to prove that he is a superstar caliber NBA player.
Yeah.
He's got to prove that he can carry a team. He's got to prove that he can score 30 points a night because that's what it's going to take to carry the Jazz.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
I think it's that simple, and I think that Danny Ainge is dominating the NBA with this situation, and I think Don is well aware of that. I think that Donovan Mitchell knows there's only one place he's getting traded to, no matter what the hacks in Phoenix say, and it's the New York Knicks. There's nothing that the Lakers can do. Nothing they can do 1v1 to land Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
They don't have draft compensation. They don't have young talent to trade. They don't have anything of substance that trumps what the Knicks can offer. And I just go back, and this is the risk that you took. If you're Leon Rose, this right here is the risk that you took.
Facts.
When you waited. When you didn't make a deal with the Jazz, you allowed Danny Ainge to leak rumors to the media that says the Cleveland Cavaliers are interested. You allow the hacks in Phoenix to say the Lakers are interested. You allow, people saying, oh, Charlotte Hornets are trading for Donovan Mitchell.
Ridiculous, dude.
You allow all of this noise to happen, and what does that mean for Leon Rose and the Knicks? The price just went up. That's what this means. It creates a sense of urgency. And I'd remind you, this is the 24th of August today. Mm-hmm. It's Wednesday, August 24th. You're out of time. Patrick Beverley can be traded next week. And I think the Jazz are going to move him. And I think the Jazz would very much like to move him along with Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks. And it's simply a matter of what the Knicks are willing to pay. Because, again, I will reiterate that I was told yesterday, no, the Lakers are not in a situation to trade for Donovan Mitchell. That's one of the most ridiculous things that, and I talked to a pretty good number of NBA guys.
Right.
I had people laughing at that yesterday. It's one team. It's the Knicks. The Knicks have what it takes to get that done. It's probably a 3-team deal because, again, from what I understand, the Knicks are not willing to trade Quentin Grimes.
Yeah.
They're going to hang on to him. It is that simple. And if you're hanging on to Quentin Grimes, I think it's going to be very difficult to make that trade directly between the Jazz and the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because I think Danny wants Quentin Grimes. I think Danny wants 4 unprotected first-round picks. And I don't think the Knicks have an appetite to do that. And frankly, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. I totally understand that. Obi Toppin and Evan Fournier are not getting this deal done. There is very little value in that return. When it's 2 unprotected picks in Evan Fournier, there's no value in that.
Yeah.
You add Obi Toppin, there's no value in that. You add Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel Quickly, now we can make a deal. It really is as simple as what is Leon Rose's appetite to give up talent.
Yeah, and I think when you look at timelines and you look at where we're at in this process, September's the last full month you have before you start playing games. Like, just to put this into perspective, October 2nd is your first preseason game, and you're going to Toronto to play that game. So September really is, and specifically the first 2 weeks of September really is the window for all these moves to go down, not only for the Utah Jazz, but in the league. I mean, think about it. You've got to solidify your roster heading into the season. So that's why I say, what's today? Oh, it's Kobe Day. It's 8/24, right? It's Kobe Day. So that's why I say, it's time. It's just time to get going. That's why I think we got the Kevin Durant news when we did. That's why I think we're going to get a flurry of trades that go down, as you've been saying, in the first week of September or so. That's why I think all this stuff, it just has set up for a long summer, because this is the first real offseason teams have had in a couple of seasons because of the time we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube. I think that there's a lot happening in the league, specifically in Lakerland, and the reason that matters is because the Lakers are usually the straw that stirs the offseason trade drink, if you will. So I just think there's this perfect storm of situations and narratives going around that make it so there's not a lot of moves happening. Yet here we are on, August 24th, and it's time for things to start happening. So we'll see what happens. But I completely agree. You get a lot of people like Hacks in Phoenix or people in New York or whatever just saying random stuff because it's slow. And I just hope that Utah Jazz fans kind of keep that in mind, because on our show, I can speak for us. We're not looking to just make stuff up or make random rumors up. I mean, as you can see, if you look at the videos and the topics we select to talk about, it's usually just talking about what's going on or what needs to go on when the time comes, like the Patrick Beverleys or whatever the case may be. So I think that happens all the time, not only in the sports world, but in the news world too.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that's so interesting is that Donovan Mitchell and Danny Ainge are dominating the NBA. I mean, it's fascinating to me. Donovan Mitchell has been a far bigger story than Kevin Durant's been. I think the rumors of Donovan Mitchell trades dominated the Kevin Durant back to Brooklyn news yesterday. I think Donovan Mitchell was a far bigger story around the NBA, which is surprising to me. It really is surprising to me that Donovan Mitchell has that much sway. All right, let's get your comments in here. Kurt Myers, first one in. He says, good morning. Danny has 2 offers for Don that he likes. Now what? I don't know that he has 2 offers he likes.
That's a perfect example. That's a perfect example. Okay, Danny Ainge has 2 offers from teams that he, quote, likes. Okay, what does that mean? Does that, okay, so obviously one of those is the Knicks, and then what? There's another team? What if it's the Knicks head up, and then what if it's the Knicks in a 3-team deal?
I think Danny Ainge does not have a deal from the Knicks he likes. I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that once. I don't think Danny Ainge has multiple deals he likes, because I got to be honest with you, if he did, this deal would be done. Period. And I think that Danny Ainge, if he had, and he's asking for 6 first-round picks, I think he would settle for 4. If he had 4 first-round picks, this deal would be done. And I don't care if it's your mom or the Knicks. You offer Danny Ainge 4 unprotected first-round picks, you can have Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
That's the foundation for a deal. It's not in question like this RJ Barrett discussion. I think this is This is a fascinating discussion. RJ Barrett, the Jazz, I think, would be willing to take RJ Barrett if they got a higher level of draft pick compensation. I think the Jazz do not want to extend RJ Barrett. That puts them right back in the same situation that they are in now. And if you do some thinking here, and if you look at the writing on the wall, why would Danny Ainge? Ask yourself this logical question. Danny Ainge has a guy that in Donovan Mitchell that's on a rookie extension right now. Right now. If you're Danny Ainge, why are you going to trade Donovan Mitchell for a guy that you're going to have to sign to a rookie extension, who's probably going to get paid more than Donovan Mitchell, depending on what happens with the cap and the luxury tax? You're going to pay RJ Barrett more than you're paying Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell's a better player?
Yeah.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Who does that?
So this idea that you would trade one unprotected pick if you added RJ Barrett, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
RJ Barrett doesn't project to be a better player. I asked this question point blank the other day. Does RJ Barrett project to be on par or better than Donovan Mitchell? And at no point does he project to be a better player than Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
So paying him more money, extending him on his rookie deal doesn't make financial sense.
Hell
and
no.
Let's even pretend that the Jazz are desperate to trade Donovan Mitchell, as Knicks media is saying, and that, you know, the hacks in Phoenix are saying that the Jazz are in full tank mode.
Right.
So let me get this right. You're in full tank mode. You're going to trade a rookie max extension contract for the rights to a player that right now is going to be eligible for a rookie max extension that will likely be more than the contract you're trading away. And you're telling me that makes sense? That makes no sense at all financially. Even if you're in full tank mode, it makes less sense than it does if you're in retool mode.
Yeah.
And if you trade Donovan Mitchell, it's a full rebuild. Are you fully rebuilding around a guy in RJ Barrett who you know who he is? He's not a guy that you build around. There's nobody in this league that thinks RJ Barrett's the best player on a championship team. These rumors make no sense.
Yeah.
So when you hear, you know, Danny has two offers he likes, I don't believe he has two offers he likes.
And I think your point about the full rebuild thing, I think in sports we love to be like, oh, they're burning it down. They're going to suck and be terrible. Like, I think we, like, as fans, we like to kind of hop on that, you know, death knell of a narrative. Like, hey, they're going to be awful. It's the Utah Jazz. They're burning it down. They brought in Danny Ainge. Like, they're going to suck. Like, I think that's what happens in sports a lot. And specifically with the Jazz for whatever reason. And I'm telling you, their behavior does not signal a full rebuild. It doesn't. Everyone wants to say, oh, well, they traded Rudy Gobert. They're rebuilding. No, they're not. That does not signal. If you look at the numbers, and we go back and listen to prior shows, we ain't got time for it today. Go look at the numbers. Go look at why they had to trade Rudy. There is a specific reason why, and it just makes perfect sense. And now you've got flexibility. They're not rebuilding at all, and anyone who tells you they are has no idea what they're talking about. It just is not what they're doing.
Well, and the idea that, oh, well, Danny Ainge is trying to get the number one pick.
Like, what?
I don't think that there's nothing that they've done to this point that says that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Spencer Morgan says there's a big difference between full tank mode, pinning your hopes on a high draft pick, and rebuild mode. They're not necessarily the same thing. I don't think they're the same thing. Prismac from Poland says the Monty Show 758 title was "The Deal Is Done." It's not done till now, a few weeks later. Did you watch that show? Did you go back and click on that thumbnail? That's not what the thumbnails. That's,
see, this is a business.
This
of
is
getting,
how it
by
works.
the way, you know, subscribe to the channel. I think we have like 8 subs to 7,000 or whatever it is. So thanks. You know, go ahead and subscribe, please.
You know,
need you.
Mark Barrington says Knicks offering 3 to 4 picks, but can probably guarantee they'd include picks from Detroit, Washington, Milwaukee, which means not huge value. I don't even think they're offering 3 to 4 picks. I think they are offering their own 2 unprotected picks. That's it. because the Knicks only own 2 picks that are first round unprotected. That's what they're trying to get to the Jazz for Donovan Mitchell. And if you're Danny Ainge, that's not enough. That's not enough. And that's why there's a third team. They're trying to find a third team to include in this. And again, I just go back on Monday. If you go back and watch the show on Monday, that's what we said. I think that's where Cleveland, I think that's where the Lakers, I think that's where Charlotte come in. I don't believe that Donovan Mitchell will play for anybody but the Jazz or the Knicks this coming season.
Yeah,
that's it. Those are the 2 teams he'll play for, in my opinion. Based on what I've been told, he's going to be a Jazz man or he'll be a New York Knick. It is that simple, and it is going to simply be a matter of who blinks. Are the Knicks willing to give up more, or is Danny willing to take less? Because that's how this deal gets done.
Well, and I think we know the answer to that. I think that Danny Ainge is not willing to take less. I mean, if he was willing to take less, this deal would have been done 3 weeks ago.
I would agree with that.
You know what I mean? So I think that, to expect Danny Ainge to somehow like reverse course here or somehow to change his behavior just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And that's the other thing too, when I look at all these fictional narratives that are out there, like Danny Ainge is not desperate to trade Donovan Mitchell. And that's what I think you have to remember in these conversations. Like your point about, hey, the Knicks are only offering 2 unprotected first round picks, and that's not enough. Well, that makes perfect sense because the deal isn't done, which is why you would need the third team. And that's what I'm saying. To expect Danny to just change course here and somehow open the conversation up to 2, unprotected picks being worth it or enough is just not realistic.
No.
That doesn't make any sense. And that's what I'm saying. The Kevin Durant situation, I think, puts people in a headspace where they're like, oh, well, the Donovan Mitchell situation is exactly the same. Right? They're trying to rebuild and they want to trade Donovan Mitchell. So, it's exactly the same. They have to move him. Just like before yesterday, they had to move Kevin Durant. And it's not true. To me, they have always been 2 very different situations because KD asked for a trade, and Donovan hasn't asked or said anything this offseason. He's just simply been working out, doing what NBA players do, and that's what I think you have to understand.
Yeah.
Danny Ainge and Donovan Mitchell, and frankly, I'd say Ryan Smith as well, are very close. Donovan Mitchell's not in a bad place with the organization.
Yeah, and I think we take this stuff very personally, and I can only continue to say I just don't believe that Danny Ainge is willing to build around RJ Barrett. This has been one of the most talked about guys in conversations I've had with NBA sources that, like the guys I talked to at the Jazz have straight up told me that it's a very difficult pill to swallow when you look at who RJ Barrett is as a player. He's a very young player. Yes, he averaged 20 points, but stylistically, he's not built to be a cornerstone player. Donovan Mitchell is a cornerstone player. Donovan Mitchell's a guy who could likely be your best player on a championship team. You're going to need shooters around him. There is no question about that because he gets himself into the paint quite a bit. You're going to need guys that until he shows he's a much more willing, better defender, you're going to need guys that are better willing defenders than Donovan Mitchell on your team. But there's no doubt that Donovan could be your best offensive player. That is not even in question. And he projects to be a guy who's got the talent and capability to score 30 points a game.
Right.
There is nothing that you've seen from RJ Barrett that tells you he can be that kind of player. And I think that's why and Danny's not the only executive, by the way. I've been told that there are other executives around the league who don't want to extend RJ Barrett.
Yeah. And
I think, by the way, I actually think Tom Thibodeau likes RJ Barrett quite a bit. I believe that the Knicks they're not hell-bent on trading RJ Barrett. I actually think they'd like to pair RJ and Donovan Mitchell. I just don't know that this deal 1v1 has enough value in it if you don't include good young players. And what RJ Barrett gives the Jazz, and the reason I think so many people talk about this, what RJ Barrett brings the Jazz is he brings a guy who can put the ball in the hole. And if you trade Donovan Mitchell, it doesn't matter who you get in return. If it's not RJ Barrett, you don't have somebody that's going to score you 20 points a game.
Yeah.
You just don't. because Mike Conley and Bojan Bogdanovic are not going to be on this roster. And I think it's just simply a situation where RJ Barrett's good. He's just not great. And he does not project to be elite. And I know that frustrates Knicks fans. And I know Knicks fans want to believe that RJ Barrett is this incredible talent. He's a very talented player. He just, under no circumstance and by no measure, projects to be a franchise-level NBA player.
Yeah, and by the way, I'd also point out Danny Ainge is probably intimately familiar with RJ Barrett's game. Having been an East Coast executive for a while, and just being at games and stuff. I mean, he knows RJ Barrett, so I just don't think it just shouldn't be taken as some surprise that they don't want to extend RJ Barrett. It's just common sense.
No, I would agree with that, and I think one of the things that's so interesting is that you have the complexities of this trade. Mm-hmm. And when you look at where the Knicks are and where the Jazz are, and you look at their future unprotected first-round picks, I mean, they have 23, they have 24, and I think they have 25. The issue is, how many of your own first-round picks can you trade? Because you can't trade your own pick multiple year after multiple year. Right. You're not allowed to do that. So it just, you look at these picks from Dallas, Detroit, Washington, Miami that the Knicks own, there's not a lot of value in those picks. There's frankly not a lot of value in the Knicks' first-round pick in 2025. Because you would think the Knicks, if they continue on this trajectory, right, the Knicks are going to be a better team. Yeah. So how much value are in those picks? There's not a lot of value in those picks. Let's see. Parrish Duggar gives us a $2 tip. It says they also have Dallas's first 2023, which will happen. Well, that's great, but if Dallas continues to build and grow, is Dallas first round pick really of value to you? Yeah. At this point, I think you'd have to say no.
And I also look, dude, it's Donovan Mitchell in the Utah Jazz. Like, you have to understand, Donovan Mitchell is the organization. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is their guy. Like, it's not like. It's different in Los Angeles where you've got, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, where you've got LeBron and AD and Russ. Like, you have multiple tiered talent on your roster.
That do different things. Yeah. To create that, like, if you look at LeBron and AD, the reason that people think that's so successful, whether it is or not, on paper, it's because LeBron James and Anthony Davis are two singularly elite players who do completely different things, and their games mesh well together. It's Kyrie and KD. Mm-hmm. Those guys play different styles of game. They're built totally different. You look at the teams. You look at Boston. Tatum and Jaylen Brown play similar but very different games. You can look at Steph, Clay, and Dre. Steph Curry is a dynamic player who has a bunch of role players around him, and it won them a championship. Yeah. I just think when you look at Donovan Mitchell and you look at what this Jazz roster has, I think there's a lot of potential here. If they bring him back to training camp and you bring this group back, the only thing they lack is a true big. Yeah. Azubuike, in most people's opinion, is a second or third center on your bench. That's it. So I think the Jazz, listen, if they come back intact, this Jazz team's going to score 110 points a game. I mean, they have significant offensive ability. Right. I just don't think that they can stop anybody the way they're currently constructed. So that's why I think you're not going to see the Utah Jazz bring back the bulk of these guys. So that'll be interesting. Let's run through some of your comments. I see a lot of you are here. Thanks for being here this morning. If you're here right now, please give us a thumbs up and a like. It really helps the channel grow. I can only say so many times thank you, because we are right on the edge of 7,000 subscribers. We're 7 subscribers away from 7,000. And that's remarkable, considering that a year ago we were at like 500 subscribers. That you guys have really gravitated to the channel, subscribed, followed what we do content-wise. It's incredibly humbling. incredibly humbling. So thank you for that. Give us a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the show. JJ says, how much do Jazz fans like RJ Barrett? I don't know. That's an interesting question.
I don't think Jazz fans know RJ's game too well. I think that RJ, I mean, again, you have to remember, and I'm not even trying to hate here. This is just a reality of the situation for Jazz fans. You don't get every Jazz fan being able to watch games, so they only get to watch some of them. So the odds of them having seen a lot of RJ Barrett are not good. I mean, for a Jazz fan to have seen RJ Barrett, they would have had to watch, like the Knicks on a national broadcast, or like you know what I mean? Like, devoted NBA fans know RJ Barrett, know his game. Like, they know RJ Barrett. Obviously, RJ's a name. But I think when we talk about how do Jazz fans feel about it, I think Jazz fans simply don't know RJ. They know he's a Knick and, that he's a player that might be traded. So that's where I think Jazz fans are at with RJ Barrett.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think one of the things that also stands out is RJ's not a dynamic personality on the floor. He's a guy that is very low-key.
Yeah.
He's not going to be your LeBrons. He's not going to be even your Donovan Mitchells. He's not going to be that big presence on the floor, which I think is part of the reason a lot of people doubt whether he can be a franchise player.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. That's an interesting point. I don't know that Jazz fans are intimately familiar.
Yeah.
With
because
what
RJ's not a Kevin Durant, right? Like, he's not. And what I mean by that is he doesn't have that profile where like anybody and their sister knows who Kevin Durant is, or knows who LeBron or Steph is. RJ and and many other players obviously are just not on that level. So that's why I say I think that for your casual, again, as I always describe it, your 9-to-5er who pops the Jazz on in the background when he or she is making dinner for the family, that kind of Jazz fan, I don't think knows who the hell Quentin Grimes is, or who the hell RJ Barrett is, or
Right,
Obi Toppin. Like, they don't know these guys, and that's why I say, like, dude, they don't even know. Let me say this: Jazz fans didn't even know who Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley were. So that's why I say it's one of these situations where Donovan Mitchell's the face of the franchise. Jordan Clarkson is a sweetheart around here, and Bojan Bogdanovic and Mike Conley were also well liked. So those guys are known to Jazz fans. Anyone else, I just don't think is really well known to Jazz fans right now.
Little breaking news for you this morning. Pro Football Hall of Famer and, really Kansas City Chief legend, Len Dawson passed away this morning at the age of 87. And I think Lenny's a guy that most people know more for his TV work, at least in our younger generations here. But Len Dawson was a hell of a quarterback. And a guy that I think has a huge media personality in the NFL. So NFL Hall of Famer, or Pro Football Hall of Famer, an NFL legend, Len Dawson passed away this morning at the age of 87. And I think, I not to be a buzzkill with that news, but I bring that up because he's just he was such an incredible performer. The image most people probably remember Len Dawson by, and you probably don't even know who Len Dawson is.
Nope.
Have you ever heard of him?
Never heard of Len Dawson.
Really?
Nope.
Man, and
Nope.
I know you're only 16.
Yeah.
But.
And I like flats.
And you like flats instead of drums.
Right.
But Len Dawson was an amazing, best known for the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think more known for Inside the NFL on HBO, more known as a TV personality, a play-by-play guy. Like, Lenny was incredible. And I think most people know Len Dawson because Lenny was a guy that on the sidelines was smoking cigarettes. He was a guy that played back in the 60s. He was fine to smoke cigarettes on the sideline. And obviously he's a guy, Len Dawson, that and I know nothing happened before 1993 when you were born.
It didn't.
But this is a guy that was a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP. This is a guy that was 49 years ago. Thank you very much. Almost 50 years ago, the NFL Man of the Year, Len Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
MVP, like anything you want, Len Dawson achieved it in his career. So sad news this morning out of the National Football League. Len Dawson, the Pro Football Hall of Famer and Kansas City Chief Super Bowl champion, passed away at the age of 87. If you're just tuning in this morning, we are talking about the biggest news in the NBA, the National Basketball Association. Obviously, Kevin Durant returning to Brooklyn is a huge story, and one of the conversations we're having this morning is, can Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and that cast of characters that they've done such a good job of assembling in Brooklyn, including, by the way, Royce O'Neal, can that group of guys win a championship? Bringing that back together with Sean Marks and Steve Nash, who that Kevin Durant went to the owner, Josiah, of the Brooklyn Nets, and said, hey, you pick me or you pick, Nash and Marks. Well, he picked Nash and Marks, and now Kevin Durant has picked the Brooklyn Nets, and they are coming back together this year. Do you think Kevin Durant can win a championship there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kevin Durant can win a championship there. I think the biggest thing is that he's got to stay healthy, or their team needs to stay healthy, rather. I think that, this stuff about Kyrie Irving missing a ton of games and Ben Simmons' mental health and, and just these guys missing a ton of time can't keep happening. I'll just keep saying it. Even if you're Kevin Durant, being the mainstay on your team and not having any help is not a recipe to win a championship. And that's why I say, if they can put this together and those three guys, Ben Simmons, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, can be healthy most of the year and can really play together, then yeah, I think there's no reason why they can't go and chase a championship. But we've been waiting for this Brooklyn Nets team, even back to the James Harden days on the Nets. We've been waiting for this team to kind of come together and really start playing that team brand of basketball, and it just hasn't happened, at all. So that's why I say, is Kyrie gonna not feed himself again? Is Kyrie gonna miss a bunch of time? Is he gonna be Mr. Selfish this year again? You know what I mean? And everyone thinks that that's not gonna happen because he's in a contract year, and that may be true, but there's just a big part of me that does not believe or take Kyrie Irving at his word. I take Kyrie Irving at his behavior, which is, hey, I'm going to starve myself because of my religious beliefs, which I understand. I'm not hating on that, but the fact is, you're an NBA basketball player and business is business. So, hey, great, go and do that. But you need to figure out a way to be 100% for the playoffs. It's just that simple. And so that's why I say, yes, you can win a championship, but you're heavily relying on those two guys to perform.
Yep, so Kevin Durant is back in Brooklyn, and then one of the biggest stories I think yesterday was, allegedly, the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. Some hack in Phoenix said that the Lakers wanted Donovan Mitchell. Well, my mom wants Donovan Mitchell. I don't think she can have him either.
Right.
I think that was probably too far.
Right.
That was probably too
far.
I think to really surmise this situation with Donovan Mitchell and Danny Ainge, I think Danny Ainge knows that he's got the NBA on a string right now. I think Danny Ainge is trying to drum up more value from the Knicks. And I think most of these rumors are bogus. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are an easy rumor to make because the Jazz were very clearly interested in Colin Sexton at one point. And I think that the Utah Jazz have a dearth of picks and talent that they can trade to Cleveland to make that deal happen yesterday if they wanted to. I think Malik Beasley's a guy that they would trade. I don't think the Jazz are interested in trading Jared Vanderbilt. I think he's a nice young player that was, from what I understand, the time that trade went down, Jared Vanderbilt was a must-have for Danny Ainge. So I have a hard time believing he's going to turn around and flip Jared Vanderbilt, to the Knicks, the Cavs, the Lakers, to anybody at this point. But it'll be certainly interesting to see. Let's get more of your comments in here. Thanks again for being here. Rants on Len Dawson says probably not inside the NFL host. I mean, the guy hosted that show on HBO for 24 years. I know Len Dawson, the Pro Football Hall of Famer and Chiefs legend, by the way, who passed away this morning. I know Lenny better as the host of Inside the NFL on HBO than I do as a Kansas City Chief Super Bowl champion. I don't think there's any doubt about that. New York Jazz fan says these hacks in Phoenix always hacking. Mm-hmm. Hoops World says Phoenix have by far the worst reporters, insiders in the NBA. I would agree with that. Ken Williams says, hey, New York, bro. Bro, it's New York, bro. It's Gotham.
Bro.
I was told yesterday, by the way, that New Yorkers hate when you call New York Gotham.
Okay. Wow.
I never even thought about calling it Gotham until yesterday when people brought it up. DM Forever says Danny Ainge should not trade Mitchell. There are not many players like him in the NBA. Why is it hard to keep guards like Mitchell? He's a stud. I think it is very difficult to find guys that are as dynamic as Donovan Mitchell. There's no
I think
doubt
it's hard
about
to
that.
keep him because he is a stud. Everybody wants him. That's the problem.
Antonio Ruiz, good morning to you, sir. He says, I repeat, as a number 2 or 3, RJ Barrett is one of the only 5 players in NBA history to tally more than 3,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists, 200 threes before turning 22.
Yeah, the guy can play. I'm not saying he
no
can't
doubt.
play, but I just think that's great that he's got stats. Like it's the lack of athleticism. It is the
He's
just
not.
the style
he's not
of play.
an alpha
like,
male.
Yeah, it's
he's
just
not.
Yeah,
He's not, and everybody points to, and look at that, Antonio Ruiz just did that. The only other players in that category are Kevin Durant, Kobe, LeBron, and Luka Doncic's mom.
right.
There's nobody putting RJ Barrett in that category.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. And by the way, I would also remind you that when you're going to point out Kobe, LeBron, and Durant, I would tell you that was a very different era of NBA when they were 22 years old. I mean, if you look at Kevin Durant, what is he, 31 now?
Sure.
Kevin Durant or something?
Something like that.
That was almost 10 years ago. Like you have to understand the NBA is completely different. This is a 3-point league now. It was not a 3-point league when Kobe and LeBron broke in.
And it's a soft league now. Everything is called.
I just listen, I don't dislike RJ Barrett, but RJ Barrett is not the best player on a championship team. There's nobody who's going to argue that he is.
And nobody's projecting him to be the Kevin Durant level player.
No.
Nobody.
No.
That's not just us. Like, nobody is projecting him to be that.
What's up, Scandura says the Knicks trade RJ, it's going to be tough to be a Knicks fan for a while. I agree with that. I actually think RJ Barrett's one of those guys who's a mild-mannered dude, and Knicks fans genuinely appreciate him.
Yeah.
And I think that RJ Barrett's been one of their best players through a very difficult period of time. I don't think there's any Knicks fan that would argue this is a transitional period. You are going from awful, embarrassing organization to competitive NBA team to now, hey, let's take that next big step and become a championship caliber ball club. That's the period of time that the Knicks are in. So again, we asked on the show yesterday, is it time for the Knicks to walk away from this trade? I'm telling you, the New York Knicks are better walking away from this. The obsession that apparently Leon Rose has with bringing Donovan to New York, I think at this point you're in over your skis, Leon, on this. I would just walk away. And I again say Leon Rose is well respected around the NBA. He's a guy that a lot of people were impressed with the moves he's made. I think if he makes this Donovan trade and it is 4 unprotected first-round picks, man, I just think you're overpaying for Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
And again, a guy is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for him. I don't believe that Leon Rose is going to overpay in this situation. I think he would rather walk away without Donovan Mitchell than overpaying. And I think he's done a very good job to this point. And I know, as we've reported on this show and now multiple people after have reported, Leon Rose has been frustrated with Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
And Leon Rose has felt like Danny Ainge has had an incredibly high bar to acquire Donovan Mitchell, but understandably so. I just don't think you want to be the team that overpays for a guy like Don. I don't. And what I mean by that is no slight to Donovan Mitchell, but if you are the Knicks and you overpay for Donovan Mitchell, you're hurting yourself because you got to understand Don is not a guy that's going to win you a championship or make you even a championship caliber ball club now.
Yeah.
You'd have to go out and make another move for a second guy. And if you look at what's on this roster, I don't think there's any doubt Jalen Brunson will never be mistaken as the guy. Mm-hmm. Again, he's not going to be the best player on a championship team. Now, can Jalen Brunson be a critical cog on an NBA championship team? Absolutely he can. Can he be that savvy paint scorer, foul drawing, defensive gnat? Yes, he can.
Yeah.
But he's not that guy, right? So the Knicks still have more moves to make even if they acquire Donovan Mitchell. And that's why I asked yesterday, I'll reiterate my opinion. The New York Knicks should walk away from this version of this Donovan Mitchell trade and just say, hey, you know what? We're going to wait. Because let's be clear about something with Don. He's going to wear a Knick uniform. Is that now or is that 5 years down the road? Is that 7 years down the road?
Yeah.
Sooner or later, Don's putting on the uniform.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. If you're the Knicks, you don't need that to be right now. Be brutally honest with yourself. Do you need Donovan Mitchell right now today? As a Knick fan, ask yourself that question. Do you need Donovan Mitchell right now today? And I think you'll come to the rationale that you don't.
Well, and I think that, so this is the beautiful thing about negotiation. And I really appreciate this, just generally speaking, like when people are negotiating over anything, the willingness to walk away or to say, hey, I don't have to do this right this second really brings you tremendous value because, again, and we've talked about this. I mean, there obviously is a lot on the line for Donovan Mitchell this season. If he comes out and he has, let's just say he has a garbage season where he only puts up like 22 points a night, let's say, just like a bad season where he's awful, okay, that's obviously going to change his trade value. Conversely, if he comes out and puts up 29 points a game for the season, if that's his season average, and he's giving you 35 points a night regularly, then obviously Donovan Mitchell's trade value is going to go up. And so that's why I say the ability to have the cojones to walk away, right? Cojones to walk away, I think is super valuable because if you're the Knicks, you have this pile of assets. So that means, okay, if we have this pile of assets, yeah, we want Donnie, but if we can go and get someone else that brings us value and maybe we only have to give up half of what Danny Ainge is asking, I would think that's a solution the New York Knicks would be interested in. But I think the other question you have to ask as a Knicks fan is what is the goal this season? If the goal is to win a championship, the other problem is getting Donovan Mitchell doesn't take you to that place. Getting Donovan Mitchell takes you probably 75% of the way there. You need another guy. So you can't give up all this capital to get Donovan Mitchell. So that's why I say this is a very, difficult is probably a harsh word, but it's just not an easy situation to get this deal done because of the Knicks' circumstances and the parameters that they have to work within. So that's why I think that the ability to walk away from this and really let some time go by, let's see what Donovan does this year, I think is an interesting angle. I think that's very much an opinion, thought. Like, hey, some people would tell you should walk away. Other people will tell you, no, you got to go and get him now because the odds are he's going to go off. Like, I think that's a really interesting thing.
I would walk away. I'd walk away. I would. Hey, Butthead says.
Hey, Butthead.
Hey, Butthead.
Dude. What did you just wake up and say, hey, my name is going to be Hey Butthead?
Hey Butthead.
I saw it.
Says, what happened to KD to the Jazz? Well, I don't know that KD was ever coming to the Jazz. I have no idea.
I mean, we had a conversation about that, the fact that, the Jazz should definitely have called, like back when Kevin Durant was available.
But and that discussion centered around this idea that Salt Lake City is a major market. And I just think the Jazz have to act like that. So I think it ended up pretty much how everybody knew that was going to. I just don't. Once Sean Marks didn't make a trade in the first 10 days after that trade demand, I think you knew where that was going. Tracy Fitzgerald, Donovan isn't an alpha on a team either. Oh, certainly he is.
Well, I think
certainly he is.
So it depends what you mean by that comment. Donovan Mitchell absolutely is an alpha player on a basketball team. He is a 1 or a 2 on any team, depending on the roster on that team. Like on the Jazz, he's the number 1 guy. On a Brooklyn Nets team with Kevin Durant, he's number 2 to Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? So he's definitely an alpha. It's just a matter of if he's going to be a 1 or a 2. But I just, as far as that Kevin Durant thing, they absolutely should have called the Nets on Kevin Durant, as did 30 other teams in the league or whatever. Yeah,
I agree. Hoops World says RJ is statistically the worst finisher at the rim in the entire NBA. I don't know. Is that true? I mean, I'm not
but again,
verifying that, but we talked about this as well. And I think Knick fans lit the world on fire when I said, I think RJ Barrett can be had physically. He's not a great physical
It's a mentality
player.
thing, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that you can body. So, which is one of my biggest, concerns about him, is that I think you need to, Mentality is probably the right word.
It's a mentality.
to
I
say
mean,
that.
look at Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's not bigger than anybody, but he moves people all the time. It's a mentality thing.
Josh Lovren, good morning, Coach. He says R.J. Barrett is trending to the DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler territory as an on-court talent. Wow. I think DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler are two totally different players.
But I see what you're saying there. DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler are not top-tier players. They are really good, can be the best player on your team, but they're not Kevin Durant level players.
The thing that I would say is both those guys are clutch. I think DeMar DeRozan showed an incredible clutch gene last year in multiple games. I mean, if he's trending towards that, I mean, I would tell you that DeMar DeRozan's a superior player to R.J. Barrett. Jimmy Butler, I just think if R.J. Barrett had Jimmy Butler's tenacity, if R.J. Barrett had Jimmy Butler's alpha mentality, I think R.J. Barrett could be a completely different player.
That's pretty much self-explanatory.
But I haven't seen very many players. You know, it's interesting. Today's Mamba Day.
Yeah.
I worked for the Lakers when Kobe was a rookie shooting air balls against the Utah Jazz in the playoffs. Shooting air balls against Charlotte in the playoffs from 3. You knew right then and there he was going to be a stud. Because when you have a guy like that who's willing to put himself in those positions and is courting failure, you know that you have somebody who's going to crush. RJ Barrett's not that guy. He's not that guy. He's not that mentally. He's not that guy. DeMar DeRozan's that guy. Jimmy Butler's that guy. Kevin Durant's that guy. LeBron's certainly that guy. Anthony Davis is that guy. I think Kawhi Leonard's that guy. Paul George is that guy. I mean, does DeMar put a team over the top? He does. But is DeMar DeRozan the best player in a championship team? Probably not. Probably not. So is Jimmy Butler the best player on a championship team? Heat were awfully close.
Yeah.
Heat were awfully close. But what does awfully close mean on your resume? Nothing. It means absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting comparison. It's certainly a conversation. You know, it'll be interesting. NYCE718 says it's only a matter of time before Donovan forces his way out, or shall I say verbally forces his way out. If he continues to be cool, he's going to lose. I think Danny Ainge hasn't spent a lot of time on terrible teams.
Yeah.
So this is one of the other narratives I think is very interesting about the Jazz. If Donovan stays, he's never going to win a ring.
Oh, what a loser!
So Danny Ainge doesn't build championship teams. Furthermore, Danny Ainge doesn't trade and build championship teams through trades. I think that's exactly what his track record says he does.
And what are we talking about?
So I think if Donovan Mitchell stays here, and I don't know that happens, again, I would put it at 65% that he stays here. I think that he should expect Danny Ainge to go and improve this roster dramatically.
You know.
Now, could they trade him? Sure. Is it likely? Yeah. I mean, it could happen. But I still maintain Don's never asked to be traded. Don's never been a problem in the locker room. And I think very clearly that if the Jazz get 4 first-round picks that are unprotected, they're going to trade Donovan Mitchell. I think that's an awfully high bar. Because not a lot of teams in the NBA have that. Not a lot of teams have that. And my Jazz fan says, where is James Knight, Ryan Buckley when you need them? They would be slapping things down. Well, that's very true.
Yeah, where's the muscle in the chat?
Let's see. Slang Tang.
Okay.
Slang Tang.
Who the f*** is that guy?
I'm sorry. I thought you said your name was Slang Tang.
Yes.
Who else are the worst finishers statistically? I'll just say anything. Well, I don't know. I don't look at who the worst finishers in the NBA are.
No, I'm more interested in the best finishers.
Yeah, because I can tell you I'm the best finisher.
Yeah.
Ask your mom.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan
Wow.
Skander.
Wow.
What?
Ask your mom.
What? What?
Wow.
RJ is also statistically the best at getting to the rim. He just needs to finish better. I agree.
Please.
Which comes with maturity.
Yeah.
Which comes with opportunity. You know. Manchild says RJ is hard worker. He'll reach his potential eventually. Which is why you don't trade Donovan Mitchell. You know. Let's see. JJ says RJ has a ton of flaws after 3 years. Okay. Wilton Mina. Yo. DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler are way older than RJ.
Yeah.
Right, but he said projects to be. Projects. That means forward.
Projects and stuff.
You know. Wilton Mina says stop the hate. Yeah, stop the hate.
Yeah.
You better check yourself.
Stop the hate, Balake. Good Lord. Let's see. New York Jazz fan says DeMar. I hear it, DeMar. I don't like it. See what he did? See DeMar.
DeMar and DeMar, and he put it all together, and right.
No.
Okay. Uh-huh.
DeMar. I hear it, DeMar. I don't like it.
Right.
DeMar has made some huge leaps. Jimmy Butler is cold-blooded. Jordan and Mamba mentality. I would agree with that. Let's see. Acapulco trade rumors gives us $10.
Who the f*** is that guy?
He says, wow.
Wow, bro, you have not had one of those in a while.
That's about the fourth or fifth time this year where I've just been talking and it happens. Moving on. What? Acapulco trade rumors gives us $9.99 and says, let's be honest, Danny Ainge was a failed baseball player who lucked out playing with Bird.
Oh, please.
Leon Rose is a maestro of trades. The Leon
I
Rose.
thought you said Leon was a maestro of trades. We're talking about the same Leon, right? The New York Knicks Leon, right?
Leon Rose is a maestro of trades. Donovan for a second rounder and Fournier. Get it done, Worldwide West. Wow, a Worldwide West. I mean, I listen. I understand cocaine's a hell of a drug, but it's even in New. I mean, it's only 9:30 in New York.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Slow down. Tanner Plummer says, guys, hey, Monty, that was a pathetic burp. It wasn't intentional.
Hey, guys.
I wasn't trying to throw it out there. Okay, let's move on.
I wasn't trying to throw it out there. Do you think I'm going to play your little games today?
Work with me.
Bro, come on.
Work with me. JJ says, haha, wow. What happened when Donovan hit superstar status? Then what will the Jazz let him go for? The price will be more than now. Yeah, I just think that I'm telling you, the Knicks should walk away from this deal.
Yeah.
Ken Williams says crack time. Manchild says, I would love to see the Knicks ride with what they have right now. I'm not on the Mitchell bandwagon. I actually think the Knicks have a pretty good starting point roster. Like, if you're going to build forward, and this is what, by the way, the Jazz are trying to accomplish as we talk Jazz and Knicks on the Monty Show. I think that if you're the Knicks, you're at a pretty good place with this roster. I mean, as a Knick fan, if you look back over the last 10 years of rosters, I would think you have to feel pretty good about where you are right now. I mean, I would think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a better place.
I mean, there's no doubt you're in a better place. It's simply a matter of, do you feel like you have the core pieces to win and win now? And I think you have to feel like you do. You're moving in that right direction. So giving up all of your assets to build on that core for one guy who doesn't make you a ring, I just think that's a mistake.
I want it.
Slang Tang says, shout out to Worldwide West.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Let's see. M. Morris says Mitchell and Rudy weren't a great combo. No, they were not. May 4th says a Jazz show with a Jordan poster hanging proudly in the background. And just what is being said to Utah Nation with Jordan hanging in the air. This is crazy.
Well, first of all.
Well, No, please.
We're not a Utah Jazz only show.
No.
We're a sports talk show, right?
Correct.
That's in Salt Lake City. So Michael Jordan, statistically and in your brains, is the best basketball player ever. And it ain't close. And by the way, tell the story about this thing, because this thing has a story.
So Bruce at the Bud Plant.
Bruce!
Back in the day when I was the morning drive juggernaut of assholishness on 1320K fan.
Right.
Here in Salt Lake City. This guy, Bruce, who is essentially a beverage guy, knew that I was a Chicagoan and a huge Chicago Bulls fan.
Right.
And so he called me one day and he's like, hey, bro, I have this rare Gatorade poster. And it's not a poster. It's actually really thick cardboard.
It's a cardboard
cutout.
Yeah, cutout, basically.
And it's authentic. It is Gatorade used to put these in all of the 7-Elevens across the country as a promotional piece to sell Gatorade.
Right.
And so as a kid, like this, I mean, this thing was amazing. And so he called me. He's like, hey, you know what, dude? I have one of these. Do you want it?
Yes.
I was like, absolutely. He's like, you got to promise me you won't sell it. I was like, I'm never selling that. Like, I've moved this thing. Like, it's one of my prized possessions. As a guy that grew up in Chicago, like, dude, like it's not just some poster on the wall that I picked up at Walmart.
Yeah, you're a Jazz Show with a Jordan poster thing.
I mean, I'm a Chicagoan.
Yeah.
And literally my license plate says flu game.
Savage.
I mean, like I'm a Chicagoan. So,
Savage.
You know, like, I mean, I understand why you're bitter.
Right.
I understand why you're bitter.
Right.
We get it. And I'm better looking than you.
Uh-huh.
So I understand it.
That's it, Skippy.
Yeah. JJ says, as a Knick fan, we're still in mediocrity, though. Well, you're coming out of that, though.
Yeah.
Ken Williams, Don is a great player. He gets a mid-range game. Look out. He has the tape from this summer. Come on. CM says, as an avid Knicks fan, haven't missed a single game in 3 years. There are way too many casuals who call themselves Knicks fans. Ooh.
Well.
Ooh.
I mean, you know.
You're a casual.
Ooh. NY Jazz fan says, Jake speaks the truth. Okay. May the 4th says, so what the with all this jazz nonsense? What do you mean jazz nonsense?
Yeah, what are you talking about, dude?
You know, what are you talking about? Samwon Lot says, May 4th is a clown. Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Buckley says MJ's the GOAT. Okay.
Yeah.
We're moving in the right direction.
Right. Now we're coming out of mediocrity. Good.
JJ says Nick's young core isn't good enough. It's not. I agree with
Facts.
that. Look, James Knight has arrived.
James Knight.
I see there's some rookies in the comments today. James Knight, my brother from Australia. Good to see you. James, by the way, is a longtime listener of the show.
Yes.
Who still do not make any bets with James Knight. He will welch on those bets.
Uh-huh.
He owes us a keg of 4X gold.
I like how we're at a keg now. That's the interest you're paying, James. We started at a 6-pack, and now we're all the way up to a keg.
Kegger, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, bro. How about a kegger, bro?
You know.
Yeah, you owe me a keg of 4X gold. James, always good to see you, friend. Cam says MJ's the GOAT. We know. No, Cam, you're the GOAT. Good to see you, Cam. Brian Jacob says, geez, do the Knicks have anybody who can make a right-hand layup? I'm just kidding.
Savage.
They don't. J. Deals Direct says, Knicks have 9 players under 25. Giving up 2-3 young role players is not giving up all.
Yeah.
If you give up, I'm just telling you now, if you give up quickly, Grimes and Toppin to make this deal happen, you're stepping in the wrong direction.
It's really despicable.
Then you're going to throw in unprotected first-round picks. It's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Which is why the deal hasn't been done. Listen, I'm no Obi Toppin guy. I think he's a role player. That's what I think of
Yeah, that's what he is right now. But I think he has explosiveness. I think he can be.
Well, sure, but see, everybody can dunk.
Right, but
everybody can dunk.
Right. I get it. Everybody can dunk, but not everybody has the ability he has to run up and down. Not everybody has the ability to play in the pick and roll game the way he has that ability. Like, I think he has some nice skill set, but I agree he's a role player right now. He needs development. There's no doubt about that.
What do you know?
Nothing, clearly. I'm just this guy that hosts a jazz show with a Jordan poster on the wall. You know, like that's just what we are.
Jerk.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Sammy DMs me on Twitter.
Here we go. In vanishing mode.
Sammy says, why do you let Knick fans on your show? I love you guys. You're my favorite sports show.
Uh-huh.
I hate the Knicks and I hate Knick fans. New Yorkers think everybody outside of New York is stupid or doesn't know what they're talking about. And as for the idiot who is ripping you for the Jordan poster, I'd give you $1,000 right now for that poster.
Oh.
I would frame it and I would hang it in my basement. I have a man cave that has a perfect spot for that. What a dummy.
Man, bro. Do we even need to keep doing the show like that? That comment right there, just like you know.
I don't disagree, and I think, and maybe it's just me, but I mean,
excellent.
Need a round of applause for that.
Absolutely, positively excellent DM.
The question is, why are you DMing me instead of putting that in the comments? Because you probably don't want to get smoked by the comments. Because I have a feeling, you could be, yeah. Josh Lovren says, May the 4th is Byron Russell fan, number 1. Probably not wrong. Ken Williams, Jordan is a stud. Nothing wrong with that, Monty. Is from the Windy City. I love that poster. And see, that's where most people come around to. Hey, why do you have a Jordan poster on a jazz show? Are you trying to trigger me? Yeah, are you triggering me?
Are you triggering me?
Look, Deshaun, take it easy.
Okay. Okay.
I've always stood on my innocence.
Swiderski, what's up?
Sup, dude?
Sup, bro? If KD stays, when will we see trades? Well, he is staying.
Yeah.
And I think you're already starting to see free agencies lightening up. Like, I'm curious what happens to Carmelo Anthony.
Bro, we got bots, bro.
We got bots in the chat.
Yeah, we got bots.
Good looking, Jake.
I don't know what happens to Carmelo Anthony, man. I mean, the guy obviously, what is he, a free agent right now, trying to find a team. I think he's obviously still has more left in the tank. He'll get signed somewhere. I don't know where that's going to be though, because he's a bench guy.
I think that's the guy that the dam breaks.
Yes.
Like, I think when you start seeing those guys sign contracts, Colin Sexton's another very interesting player.
Sign and trade guy.
I don't think you can bring him back to Cleveland. I think that bridge has been burned. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him. I mean, there's value out there.
Yeah.
I still maintain that this has been a pretty disappointing summer. And we're coming down to the last 4 weeks of summer.
Right.
Here we are on the 24th of August. 2 weeks from now, I'll be in Hawaii, and you won't.
88 days of snowboarding season, just saying.
Less roll.
Just saying.
I think that there is a lot of credence in the idea that, the dam's going to break and there's going to be a dozen signings and trades that are going to happen in like a 3-day period. I think that could happen. All right, May the 4th. Says Knicks fans are tuning into a show that's not even dedicated Jazz Channel for information.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
May the 4th, listen.
This is not hard to understand. Like,
yeah.
It's not.
No. Tanner Plummer says, yeah, basically Slang Ting, my uncle was the one who tried to do it. I don't know what Slang Ting said. Didn't Jazz fans try to poison Jordan? Well, this depends on who you ask.
Bro, do we really need to tell this story right now?
Most people know the Jordan pizza story, right?
Yeah.
That Jordan ordered pizza and supposedly and food poisoning, and I mean the conspiracy theory that would have to have that happen.
Right.
I mean, come on. All right. Lou Memorabilia says Broadway, Barrett, Brunson, and the law firm of Mitchell and Mitchell Robinson will make the Knicks 10 games better, according to Woj. I don't disagree with that. The problem is, does 10 wins... What is that 10-win value? What is the 10-win... Where does that put you?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't put you at the top of the East. That puts you in the middle of the East.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool.
Gets you in the playoffs
it makes
year.
you a playoff team.
Yeah.
But are the Knicks in business just to make the playoffs?
Nope.
It wouldn't seem so. I mean, I think that's, again, I just maintain I would walk away. And I'm happy to do a little poll. Do you guys think that the smarter move is to walk away? I think the smarter move might be to walk away.
I think that your point about Don eventually one way or the other being a Knick is well taken. I think that one way or the other he will be, and it's just a matter of time. And I think that you just can't get so obsessed on one deal that you give up way too much and you make a mistake. Yeah. That's the problem. Bro.
Look at the Knicks fans coming out. Knicks fans support the show. I think we have a great contingent of Knicks fans on our show. Knicks fans are great to talk basketball with. No one did that, LOL. May 4th says, oh, CM, I'll catch you in a real Knicks show to let you know my MHFKN fandom level. Okay. Well, hey, you have a good day now. Bye-bye. K. Nurin says, my last son is named Jordan. Best name ever. Okay. Mysterious Loop says, let's go Knicks.
It's what's so funny to me? I love when Knicks fans or other fans, like, I don't really care who your team is or whatever, like, you can be whatever, you can support whatever team. I love when people are like, I'm going to go to another show that's a real show. As if somehow you leaving, like, crushes our show or something.
We're devastated.
Like, we're devastated. Like, I love having you here. I love your opinions here. But if you're just so upset about it, then...
Wait. Breaking news. Breaking news. What are the sound effects? Let's see. Wait.
No, that's not it. That's not it. Nope. That's definitely not it.
Okay, wait. That actually works.
Oh, okay.
7,002 subscribers
Hey.
on the show. 7,000 subscribers.
And by the way, we did it without Dude.
Fuck off. Like, are you kidding me? That was like 10 seconds of me hanging there.
Okay.
Hey, 7,000.
10 seconds is the longest you've ever had, so let's just chill out,
Hey,
okay?
I last 12 seconds last night, in fact.
I'll drop that mother.
Here, let me high five myself.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, the point is, we are now over 7,000 subs. We appreciate that. 7,002. We appreciate you guys being here. And MIC718 says, congrats, well deserved. Riley O'Brien says, let's go. Don't leave him hanging, LOL. Yeah.
I was ready to go in on the Knicks fan.
Bro,
when you
I was
tried to
sitting
give me
here
a
for
high
like 10
five.
seconds.
It wasn't
Like-
10 seconds. It was 3 seconds. Jack wagon.
Oh, my God. JJ says, high fives always end awkward. Okay, come on. You ready? Good job. Good job. Top Junkie says, congrats on 7,002. I wonder what percentage of those are Knick fans.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, that's great. Riley O'Brien says, well done, fellas. Love you guys. Thanks, Riley. Appreciate you being here. Tanner says, LOL, another L for Jake. Exactly. CM says, LOL, May 4th, you're embarrassing yourself. You are. Because, like, when Knick fans come to the defense of us, like, you know you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Calling to Knicks fan TV, is that a real thing? Is that true? Yeah, let's see. Mrs. Montio give me an actual high five. See how that works, Jake? Like, she shows up on the show and doesn't leave me hanging. Like, you're doing it again.
You're not actually trying to high five me.
Okay.
That wasn't a real attempt.
Ken Williams says, poor Mrs. Monty got 7 seconds last night. Exactly
That's what
right.
I'm saying.
Exactly right. 12 seconds.
Okay.
Clark Kent
So
over
that's
here.
how it's gonna be.
Oh, my God. Boyd Lake says, Monty looks like Tom Brady looking for a high five. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Remember that when Tom Brady's like...
Yeah. Trying to high five his teammates.
That's hysterical. Marlon Shaw says, don't feel bad, Monty. Jake's girlfriend had the same experience.
Savage, bro. Savage.
That's awesome, Marlon. Kurt Meyer says, you need to work on that 5. Yes. Kay Nurin says, don't forget to hit that like button. Yeah, give us a like. That would be better than the high five I didn't get today.
You know.
Nick's Bacher says, Danny Ainge doesn't have the Knicks hostage. Nobody said he has the Knicks hostage.
Yeah, nobody said that.
As the preseason gets closer, he's going to fold.
Nah, he won't. He won't.
We'll see. We will see. May the 4th. CM, you don't speak for Knicks fans nowhere. Who are you? Well, no, May 4th. I'd ask.
You know what's funny, too?
I'd ask, who are you?
his comments all in caps?
Yes. He's that dude. He is that dude.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Jay Deals Direct says, Jazz haven't made one winning move this offseason. Oh, really? So the Rudy Gobert trade wasn't a winning move? You cleared... So I totally disagree with that.
This is too easy.
I mean, the Rudy Gobert trade is a win.
By the way, that wasn't just a win for their cap situation. They broke the league with that trade. You understand that, right? Danny Ainge has been in control of setting the value of trades moving forward.
I think that trade is why Kevin Durant didn't get traded.
Yeah, like I think that the Rudy Gobert trade had such an impact on the league that we've just been sitting here waiting because now the trade is all messed up. Like the trade values are all messed up, and I think Danny Ainge, deserves a lot of credit for that.
M. Alvarez says, I don't think Mrs. Monty ever leaves you hanging. Wow, I'm just going to move on. JJ says, don't do breaking news during trade rumor moments. LOL, you got me excited. Well, it's not my fault dude kicked the bucket during the show. I probably should have been a little more supportive of his dad.
Next question.
New York Jazz fan says, amen, Jake. Rance says, same with Royce for a first rounder was a good move. Oh,
Yeah,
Royce
dude,
for a first rounder is a great example,
point.
Rance.
Everyone forgets about the Royce O'Neal trade. Like, that was the first deal.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rance. Very good point.
Yeah.
Neville93 says, hey, Monty, I heard Mitch was going to get traded to Panama. Is that true? Well, the Panamanian national team really is looking for a two-guard that can be a 1-2 combo.
Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bagsnatchovich, I'm just saying and stuff. Yeah, Neville, I think that's absolutely right. All right. How we doing?
We're good, man.
7,000 subscribers. Real quick, just to, that's a pretty big moment for us. 7,000 subs on this show that's insane. That is insane.
I mean, there's and this is just going off of analytics and trends based on, what YouTube's telling us, but there is a pretty good chance that we will get to 10,000 subs before the end of the year, if everything trends correctly.
Yeah, we have a huge announcement coming.
2 weeks?
Yeah, maybe. 2 weeks. I mean, the game's
3 weeks probably. 3 weeks.
The game's going to change on this show.
Yeah.
So we'll see exactly how all that shakes out, but the game's going to change on this show. Sammy Lantigua. Sammy Lantigua. What do you guys think of a 3-team trade? Lakers, Knicks, Jazz, including Mitchell, Fournier, D Rose, Beverly, Conley, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Westbrook. See, so the hack in Phoenix saying that all the Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell.
No.
So I think I said this yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
The Lakers would like very much and have worked very hard to be the third team in a Knicks Jazz deal.
Facts.
The problem is that they want Kyrie Irving for 2 first-round unprotected picks that the Lakers have.
Yeah.
Well, we now know that Kyrie Irving's not available.
Mm-hmm.
And we now know that the Lakers have 2 first-round picks they're willing to trade. So there is value in that. And what we talked about on the show yesterday is the issue is going to be what do the Lakers want for those 2 first-round picks? If you're the Jazz, and let's say, hey, we're going to ship Donovan Mitchell ends up in New York, either because I know the Lakers really value Mike Conley.
Mm-hmm.
If Mike Conley's the guy that ends up in, his, I think $21 million he's scheduled to make or whatever, ends up in L.A., are the Lakers going to send 2 unprotected first-round picks to the Jazz? And they're going to send Russell Westbrook out? Well, that salary doesn't match up because he's making, $47 million. So now is Fournier the one that ends up in L.A.? Is Derrick Rose in? Because Derrick Rose's salary works in that. So I think there's a deal to be made. I think the question is, does Danny have an appetite to buy out Russell Westbrook?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really big question. And I think it's one of those things where you have to ask yourself, what is Danny's appetite to take on that kind of project?
It doesn't make sense to me that you moved Rudy Gobert to free up cap space just to buy out Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about decisions and how your decisions add up, the goal before the Gobert trade was, hey, we got to move this guy to get some cap flexibility and to get ourselves right financially. So to make a deal where you got to buy out, what is Russ getting? $45 million or whatever it is?
Something stupid. Yeah, $47
like
million.
that.
Let me look it up real quick.
When a guy's making that much money, it just doesn't make sense to me that you would want to buy him out as part of a Donovan Mitchell trade. And that's why I say, I think at the core of it, you have to understand that Danny Ainge doesn't have to trade Don. And this is where I start to part ways.
Russ is at $47,063,000.
So $47,063,000. Think about that.
Do you understand he's making $10 million more than Anthony Davis?
If you think about it,
Good
it is
Lord.
a boatload of money. And so when I start to look at how this offseason's played out for the Utah Jazz, yes, Royce O'Neal deal was a win. But everybody said, wow, you got a first rounder for Royce O'Neal. That's incredible. Then you stack the Gobert deal on top of that. And now what has it been? 8 weeks now probably of this Donovan Mitchell,
we're
Knicks
going on
trade.
2 months.
It's been a long time, it feels like. And that's why I say the reason it's going on this long journey in time is because Danny doesn't have to trade him. So this idea that, they're rebuilding and they're burning it down and that's why they're going to do this 3-teamer, I just disagree. I don't think they're burning it down. I think what the Utah Jazz are doing is they're saying, hey, Don and Rudy has been proven not to work. Whatever you think about these two guys, that combo doesn't work. We got to change that. And that's what they're going through that process. So I just don't think it's not a tear down rebuild thing.
Cody Strickland says, can I get Monty's shirt but in Jake's shirt style? So he wants like a polo shirt. See, Mrs. Monty this morning was being a jerk. I mean, because she's a jerk. She hangs around me all day. I'm a bad influence on people. We get it.
Right.
And she's like, oh, Jake's out dressing you. He looks better. He has better style. His shirts are nicer. Listen, bro, I have one kind of shirt, and it's a black shirt. I have probably 10 black T-shirts. I have probably 5 black Callaway golf polo shirts.
Yeah.
You look in my closet, it is literally just a row of black T-shirts hanging.
Admittedly, I did order some new colored polo shirts. So,
what'd you say?
I didn't. All I said is you got to step up your game.
It's hurtful.
I want better.
It's hurtful.
Your closet is a black hole of darkness, but you have an opportunity. Just it's a black
quote a black hole of darkness.
Look, it is not time to turn the camera around on you quite yet.
No, they can't handle me yet.
You watch yourself.
You
watch yourself.
You can't take the truth.
Because you don't want me to start talking about your black hole of darkness. You don't.
M-O-N-T-Y, the Monty Show.
You don't. You don't.
Wow.
Take it easy.
Okay.
Wow.
I do need to. Mrs. Monty's not incorrect.
Right.
I probably do need to hello?
Diversify
take some English classes
liquidity
and courses and
stuff. Yeah.
I do need to diversify the color palette.
So what is your, real quick, just sidebar, what would be the first color polo you would go to besides black? Like, I know you have one that's like a blue.
I have a Carolina blue one. I have a red one. I don't know. I don't know.
See, when I look at clothes, I'm always like, all right, what Jordans am I wearing with this outfit?
Well,
but that's the thing about black shirts.
People joke that
matchy. You got to be matchy.
You do. I think for those of you who don't know or are new to the show, like those Jordans on the wall, those are all my Jordans. Like I think I am pushing, and we have 2 minutes until I get another Jordan.
Jordan 3 Dark Iris, that's a must-have.
This purple
yes,
Jordan 3.
It's a must-have, dude. If you don't know what this...
Wait, I thought we weren't doing this.
We're not doing it.
We're not doing it.
It's again, black hole of death.
Yeah, my point is, I would do purple. I'm a black guy. Like, I am black. I wear everything. I wear jeans. I wear, like, comfortable. I have, like, these really comfortable slacks. Like, I'm a Jordan guy. So I base my outfit on my Jordans that I'm going to wear that day.
Right.
That's who I am. That's what I do.
Right.
So, anyway, I'm in on this, Iris. I you know what? To hell with it. We're going to announce 2 major sponsors on the show next week. I'm in on this Dark Iris.
We got some tips coming in.
We do. So, Cody, no, you can't have my polo shirt. Stitchy Mitchy Yo. Stitchy Mitchy Yo! For Fortnite, I should probably be a rapper. Says, if Don stays, who are some players you think the Jazz should focus on getting to round out that roster? You're going to have to find a big.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to trade Patrick Beverley. I've been told repeatedly they would like to move Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
Which I understand. I mean, he doesn't fit into what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily have an answer on a specific player for you. We if you've watched this show for any amount of time, we do not do trade speculations. We don't use the ESPN trade machine to see if this trade is a 76-player trade that'll work.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to say, hey, like what trade or what players can they go out and get, because I think, frankly, you just don't know who's going to be available, and you don't know what teams they're going to be dealing with. Like, think about how many teams could be in on a potential Patrick Beverley deal. I mean, literally, like, I'm not exaggerating. That's like the whole league that you could trade him to. So that's why I say when we start looking at 3-team, 4-team, deals, I think it becomes increasingly difficult to say who they should go after. Now,
it does.
Some of the names we've talked about in the past are your John Collins, or when the Utah Jazz were engaged with the Chicago Bulls, like there were some opportunities there. But that's what I say. I would rather just say, hey, I'm not sure, because I truly am not sure. I don't know. There's not like a list of a couple of guys that they should go and get. There's just not.
And I think when you have the assets that these two teams have, I think you have to be very careful with the moves that you choose to make. I think if you are, and again, not to keep going back to the Knicks, but the Knicks have very little reason to make this deal.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I just think you have very little reason to make this deal. NY Jazz fan says, got my shirt, got my Monty shirt. Love the show. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, man.
Let's go.
Thank you. Judicial Protest wants to know if Jake is sponsored by Oscar Mayer.
I don't get that joke.
I'm going to move on because that has potential to be dangerous. Sammy Lantigua gives us a $5 tip. Thank you. Says, if Danny buys out Westbrook, where do you guys see him best fitting as? Could Westbrook put Philly over the top? See, you beat me to it. I was going to say, I know for a fact if he's a free agent, Philly's going to make that call. Because I think Philadelphia really wants, there's a lot that Philly wants. And I think Philly knows they are good, not great.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of belief around the league that Philadelphia is going to improve themselves. And by the way, Bojan Bogdanovic is a name that's been linked to Philadelphia. So, I mean, you look at Philly's cap, I can't remember exactly all the numbers, but their cap is a little out of whack. I mean, they're paying some dudes, and I can go and look at that for you, but they're paying some dudes.
Yeah, I just think that Philly's talent is not in line with what they hope it's going to be. I mean, James Harden has never won anything.
Tobias Harris, I want to say, is their number one paid player. Hang on. Tobias Harris is making $37.6 million. He is by far the highest paid player in Philly. Joel Embiid in Philly is only making 33.6. I say only. He's making 33.6 million. Tobias Harris is making 37.6. James Harden's making 33. PJ Tucker. And see, here's the thing though. They got better. PJ Tucker is a very good pickup at 10.4 million. DeAnthony Melton. I actually think Melton, somebody on the show the other, it might have been Scandura. Somebody said the other day that DeAnthony Melton's a really good pickup for him. He is. There's no doubt about that. Daniel House at $4.1 million is a really nice role player for them. And I would remind you that Tyrese Maxey's only making $2.7 million.
Yeah.
Like that is an Eastern Conference championship caliber team right there, right now.
Yeah.
You look at some other teams across this league, like I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, their cap is flipping whack with the Rudy Gobert trade. You look at the Lakers, you look at some of these other teams, and there's just not, in my opinion, a real clear direction on where they're going.
Yeah.
That, to me, is one of the biggest questions. Tanner Plummer says, Mon, I've always wondered this. Why do you always wear black? Are you planning on going to a funeral soon?
Hey, guys.
Well, the funny thing is,
Hey, guys.
It's been my entire life. Like, it's not something that's new. A lot of people are like, oh, is it because you're a fat whale ass? No. Now, I'm not saying I'm not.
Is it because you're a fat whale ass?
That was probably some hyperbole. Having said that, I got on the scale this morning, lost another pound and a half.
That's HIPAA.
Life is good. By the way, real quick, somebody asked me about CBD topical. Like,
so weed.
Mary Jane. My wife has been a CBD user for years now.
Right.
So I've been playing more basketball recently, and I don't have an ACL in my left knee. So she's been giving me this, I don't even know what you would call it, like not a lotion, but like this rub that you put on your knee. I went to bed last night. My knee hurt. Like I was playing basketball. Why is everything about spanking the bank for you, dude? Like, what is wrong with you?
Hey, you said rub, not me. I'm just over here listening.
Anyway, I got to tell you, my knee is a hundo P this morning. Like, if you said to me you want to play basketball, yes, let's go. Like, my knee feels great. That CBD rub is unbelievable.
Great.
But I wear black just because it's easy. It goes with everything. Ken Williams says, Monty's sleeping on the couch again tonight. Yeah, I agree. Tanner says, well, wait, Monty's actually agreeing with someone who criticized him. It's a miracle. What do you mean? Like,
Yeah, what you mean, man?
You know. Let's see. Tony Crow Nixon Bruises says, you're definitely not a black guy. LOL.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, I walked into that one.
Oh, man, dude.
Utah says he wears skinny jeans. No, I do not wear skinny jeans. I would love to wear skinny jeans. I do have one pair of skinny jeans, I guess. They don't fit because I'm not skinny. Tanner says, I'm a black guy. Quote unquote, Tim Monteminer, August 24th. Okay. My son loves black and blue.
Oh, man.
Chelsea Football Club. Jesse P says, Mitchell eventually will want to compete for a championship. Find the best deal now. Take it while he has value. I think his value is only going up.
I think there's risk in that. That's not a bad point.
Talking with Raphael podcast.
On PBS Radio.
Brought to you by Metamucil.
Vexes me.
But isn't Pat Bev the type of locker room hype we need? Well, if he would shut up and stop going at Kevin Durant, he probably would be. I would love.
What a loser.
Man, if they keep Don, I'd love to see them keep Pat Bev, but every contender wants Patrick Beverley.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Danny's got a deal done for Beverley, in my opinion. Scandura says if the Jazz get Obi, they should try and get John Collins and let them run together. That would be fun for a tanking season. I still maintain, Jake, you got him.
Got him, bro.
Got him.
Got him.
Let's see. Did I get him? Probably not. Fuck. No, I didn't. I did not because I wear a size 37 million.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Doggone it. No, I did not get my Jordans. Well, good on you. I'm happy for you, man. Hope your broke ass can't pay your rent. Anyway,
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
I have lost so many draws recently. Like so many draws I've lost recently.
Yeah.
That one hurts because I'm an Air Jordan 3 guy.
Yeah.
Like that is, although the Air Jordan 5 lately, I've been on a run of Air Jordan 5s. I like it, you know. K Nern says black is a power color. Oh, do tell. Tony Crow Nixon Bruises says, where are all the views going to come from after the Knicks fans leave? I don't know. We were doing pretty well before the Knicks came.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Insurance companies don't always play fair, but we can keep them in check. Most cases settle out of court, but we'll take your case to trial if necessary. You deserve an advocate.
What do you think of when you think of the brand of the Utah Jazz? What do you think of? Like, do you think of purple? What color schemes come to mind?
Purple.
When you think Utah Jazz, like what? Purple is the color that comes to mind.
Purple is the color that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I more think of the crispy white, purple, gold, green accent, like the clean-cut Utah Jazz uniform.
Yeah.
That's more what I tend to think of. But today, I think, is a huge day for the Utah Jazz. This uniform release that we are going to get today is going to really make a huge, I think, impact on the fan base. And when we talk about who this team is, and we talk about the brand and the identity of the Utah Jazz, you know, I think you only get so many chances to rebrand yourself. And in sports, we tend to see more uniforms. It feels like new uniforms year over year.
Right.
But how many chances do you get to do this, Jake? I think this is a huge day for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of firsts happening in the organization. You know, whether, like yesterday on the show, we mentioned that, you know, hopefully you're not going to be trading a guy of Rudy Gobert's value and caliber too often. You know, and when's the last time the Utah Jazz did that? You know, when's the last time, you know, the Utah Jazz went through an ownership change? When's the last time the Utah Jazz did a jersey rebrand? Right? These are all things that are taking place that don't normally happen. And so, yeah, I think 100% this is a huge day. I think that we all know, based on the leaks and based on our sourcing and what we've told you and everything you've seen, that yeah, we are going to get that yellow, you know, color palette that we've seen, or that sort of greenish look. But I'm really curious to see what the mountain jersey looks like, because I feel really good about that now, being that the note is now purple and has mountains around it. You know, obviously they're going to release a jersey like that. But yeah, I think the other thing we've also heard from our people at the Jazz is that the uniforms look great on the players. So we'll see. You know, that we've heard a lot of, hey, the renderings don't do the uniforms justice. So we'll see. But what I'm telling you is that if it was my decision, I wouldn't be going with a yellow and black and white concept. That is not Utah Jazz colors. It never has been. And this is my main point with this whole thing as far as color selection and really doing a rebrand, if you will, is this is Ryan Smith putting his stamp on the organization. And I don't blame him for that. I'm not even criticizing him for it. I mean, I think it's necessary. But again, as we've said many, many times, this team definitely needs a win. And I'm curious. What I'm really going to be paying attention to specifically on Twitter for Jazz fans is what is the reaction? I mean, do people see these on – and I'll be curious to see who's at the presser, like, how they go about it. But what's the reaction? Do people hate these? Do people love them? Do people say, they're just okay? I'll buy the Mountain jersey, but I'm not going to buy anything else. Like, you know what I mean? So – Because right now, if you think about it, like when you go to Costco or you're in the day-to-day or you're running around and you're seeing people, I see kids and people all the time in Don jerseys, specifically the black one with the red and the orange accents, and I see that all the time. So that's why I say, like, I hope that this new uniform set that they're going to wear for most games is not a bust, but I kind of feel like there's a decent opportunity it will be. Well,
look, I think when you're coming off of a uniform like the dark jersey, the city jersey, like, I mean, that is the dark uniform was beautiful. Like, the floor was beautiful. The uniform is beautiful. Like, I think that jersey is going to be tough to beat. And you see yesterday that they completely repainted the note out front of Vivint Arena. And they put the mountains, and it's now purple with white accents. And, you see that Jazz Nation has that picture on their Twitter and social of the floor that's purple with the mountain logo in the middle, bringing you back to John and Carl. And I'm just curious if that's enough to placate Utah Jazz fans, because the uniform that we've seen is less than exciting. I mean, just to me, it's very boring.
Yeah.
It's very simple. And look, I'm not a fashionista. I wear a black T-shirt every single day on this show. Let's be honest. I'm not the guy you're going to for fashion advice in all likelihood.
Right.
But I will tell you, as somebody that collects, things like Jordans and sports memorabilia, and this uniform better pop when it is on a Utah Jazz player. Like, it better look better than the renderings. It better look better. It had better be more attractive than the renderings that we've seen.
Right.
And you know what? That I would think that the purple mountain uniform, if that's the retro that we're going to get today, that jersey will be enough to sell a lot of
I think a lot of
merch.
people will buy those. I think
I
a
would
lot
agree
of
with
people
that.
would buy those, just because, especially for your Jazz fan who watched this team every day when it was, Stockton and Malone. Like, if you were a Jazz fan in that era and you watched that team, I think that you're all about the new Mountain uniform when it comes out. I think you are. But we'll see. And that's why I say, like, this is the conversation when you're rebranding. Who is ultimately going to be buying these jerseys hand over fist? Ultimately, whether the jersey sucks or it's the best thing since sliced bread, they're going to sell a lot of jerseys. They always do. It's just part of being an NBA franchise. But I think the conversation is, is it really a smashing hit? You really want these new jerseys to really bring the fan base together and say, yes, we are in a new time. Like, almost like, hey, we're stepping into the next era of Jazz basketball with the Rudy trade rumors and, like, with the offseason looming now, and, like, we got new jerseys. Let's put them on new players. Let's go out there and see some nice stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think 11 a.m. this morning Mountain Time, you're going to get new jerseys, and we'll see. I'm
actually really excited for it. I think it is a massive day for the Utah Jazz. I don't think there's any doubt about it that this is the first step into 2022-2023. The NBA Finals are over, which, by the way, told you. Anyway, and what did I tell you? I told you Steph Curry was going to win the MVP. You got my money?
No, I don't have
my
your
bread?
money. Nope.
Where's my bread,
Nope,
man?
because you didn't say that.
Break you off at the knees.
You didn't say that.
Now you feel dumb for not betting.
That doesn't matter.
Anyway, the point is, I think today's a huge day, and I think one of the other questions that it is, as we go through the weeks and months here, can Rudy Gobert comfortably return to the Utah Jazz next season? I mean, with all the efforts that are out there, with as close as they came supposedly,
allegedly,
to trading Rudy Gobert to the Atlanta Hawks, I think one of the most pertinent questions is, can Rudy Gobert return to the Utah Jazz and be any kind of leader, have any kind of impact off the floor?
Never.
But of course he can, right? I mean, physically, he absolutely is capable of doing that. The question is, mentally and in the eyes of his teammates, is Rudy Gobert already wearing another uniform? That's a huge question for me. And the other question is, why is Donovan Mitchell not the guy that's in Salt Lake City debuting this new uniform?
Great question.
That is if this is your guy and if this is your franchise player, that's your superstar that you're building around, why is he not the guy that's going to model the new jersey?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, so first of all, on the Rudy Gobert front, I don't think you can bring him back. I don't think that you run a player through a bunch of trade rumors and
you think it's too far gone now?
Yeah, well, because it was too far gone during the season. I mean, you already had all these issues, and now you've combined that with, hey, we're trying to trade you. That doesn't exactly send the best message, and I don't care if Rudy, said, hey, yeah, I'd love to be here, but I'm open to something. Like, even if he said that before all this happened, you can't tell me that Rudy Gobert is comfortable with coming back to this organization knowing that they want to trade him. And I just don't buy that. Rudy Gobert, again, and this isn't a criticism. This isn't Rudy sucks. I'm not saying that. But I think we've all seen it. Rudy wants to be the centerpiece of a team. No pun intended. Like, he wants to be the guy. And that's not going to happen here in Utah. It's just not.
Well, I think it is. Hey, anytime you touch that mic knob, bad things happen. I think it is incredibly important that this relationship with Rudy Gobert get fixed. You got to trade him.
Yeah.
But if you bring him back, I don't see how you bring him back. I think it's incredibly uncomfortable right now to bring him back. I think it would be asking an awful lot of this team to have chemistry between Don and Rudy.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that Don and Rudy, their chemistry is an issue. I think we had drama in the locker room last year that we all saw.
Yeah.
And I think we all saw that it had a detrimental effect on the Utah Jazz. So no, I actually don't think he can come back.
It's internal.
I don't. Yeah, it's internal, all right, Coach. I mean, there's no doubt about that. This is a huge moment in time. I again will say, I just think that this is one of the most important off seasons in the history of the Utah Jazz. I think you are watching a birth, a new beginning. This uniform thing today is not just about uniforms. It is a step out of the old into the new.
Yeah.
This is and you've said this several times this week. This is Ryan Smith putting his stamp on this organization.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that these uniforms are his vision.
Yeah, well, think
right?
about it. Just again, and I'll recap what I think of this just super quick. So, who's Ryan Smith? Ryan Smith is a Utah native. He grew up here. He's a lifelong Jazz fan. So, immediately what that says to me is, yeah, we're definitely going to have a mountain throwback. No doubt about it. Retro, purple, vibing on it. Great. Okay, cool. But my problem comes in when I think about who Ryan Smith as a tech billionaire is. He is somebody who likes clean-cut things, whether we're talking process or tangible stuff that you can hold in your hand.
Yep.
So to me, that's why you're going to get a really clean-cut, minimalist-type jersey, where it's just very simple, like nothing complicated or out there outside of the colors. And my biggest thing, the only thing I would say is color selection I felt like was poor, because we know we're getting the yellow jerseys and all that.
The
we
blacks,
know,
the white.
that combo that we've seen. We know we're getting that. So my biggest thing just would have been is like that's a to me, you're stepping too far out of the realm of what Jazz colors should be. If you wanted to, tweak colors, if you wanted to sort of a different shade here or there, sort of just redesign the jersey.
Well, I don't even know that it's you're stepping too far away from what tradition or the brand or whatever. I just think you're at a place now where it just doesn't feel good. Yeah. And it is that thing, and you may not know this, or you may know this. Jake and I have designed several homes. We've done real estate, interior design. When you design something and you see it, you know right away if it's a smash or not.
Yeah.
What is it? If it slaps, or if it's Cap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's the cool TikTok kids, you know?
Yeah, the TikTok kids and stuff.
Because it's garbage.
These uniforms don't slap. They're not great. They're not fire. The Mountain jersey is going to be amazing. And my guess is that's what they're going to use as the centerpiece of this jersey release.
Yeah.
I don't believe that can be your full-time uniform. That is like your retro third uni thing. Like that is.
Yeah.
I think these uniforms, I don't know. The teams wear so many different jerseys nowadays. Maybe it can be. I don't know. Whatever these black, white, and yellow ones are, I am not impressed. I am not excited.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing because you need a win.
Yeah.
This team needs a win. And I think they're very smart to go back to the purple and white. The note out front was very clearly an indication that that's going to be a theme today. The new floor that, again, with all credit, I try to give credit to people where it's due. Jazz Nation, I was the first place that I saw that picture of the floor.
This is a big day for Buddy.
I mean,
this is a big day for Buddy.
Yeah,
you
hey,
know?
and you know what? If you are on Facebook or Twitter, go follow Jazz Nation. Like, they've been out in front on this for the most part. Like, give them a look, because I think you'll see if they got this right. I'm not that excited about what's going to break at 11 a.m. Mountain Time this morning. I'm not. Let's get some of your thoughts in here. Hey, Josh Martin, appreciate the $2 tip. Thank you very much. He says new uniforms are the least worry for the Jazz. Well, that's probably true. I mean, obviously player movement, changing the roster.
But there's a natural path and progression that could have taken place here. Like, you can clearly see, okay, New Jersey release, Rudy Gobert trade, new players getting introduced. I mean, there's a clear progression there. And I think that you had a great opportunity to sort of stay within the bounds of what Utah Jazz colorways have always been.
Yes.
And I understand it. Look, I understand that Ryan Smith wants to be cutting edge. He wants to push the envelope. He wants to, he wants to be that guy, and he's always been that guy in business. And I understand that, and that's what I think kind of bleeds into jersey redesigns. Hey, let's get out there. Let's be out there, and let's do something radical. And I'm here to tell you jerseys are not what you should do that with. But, again, that's just me. Maybe they will look fantastic on players. By the way, did you think they did a good job rolling these out as far as like the Jordan Clarkson video and
I think they had a plan, as it was explained to me. The Utah Jazz had a whole hype train all laid out. And the reaction to the original leak of the renderings was so poor, they went back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're seeing that there hasn't been a whole lot of hype. There's been one hype video, and it was Jordan Clarkson, and it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. I'm curious. I am surprised but then again, maybe I'm not surprised. We've had this conversation on the show that they're not great on social. They're not great at content creation.
There's only one team in this town that's really good at it, and that's that team down south.
Yeah,
that's the
BYU.
Only team in the town that's good at it.
BYU, with what BYU does with their equipment and uniform stuff, they're elite at it. They're fantastic at anything video, content creation, hype videos. BYU is the gold standard in this town.
That said, I do think that we are seeing little tea leaves being dropped, like the Danny Ainge interview or like the Jordan Clarkson video. I feel like they're sort of working their way up to getting a full-on media thing going for their social media. I feel like they're working on it. They're working towards it based on what we've seen.
Yeah. Hey, man, is what it is. I'm just telling you
what
right
I would
now.
have done, just an idea, what I would have done is I would have today. So last night what I would have done is I would have sent one of my people out with like 5 of these new jerseys, let's say, or whatever. And I would have placed them in obvious areas, sort of, and I would have put that all over social media for people to go and find. That's what I would have done.
I think what I would have done is I would have made hype videos, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. Today's the day.
Right.
And I would have done a huge video around repainting the note.
Yeah.
I would have, you know what I would have done? I would have had a release party. I would have said, hey, the first 500 fans in line at Vivint Arena, or hey, the first 500 fans, we're going to give 500 fans a raffle ticket. Get in line. The first 500 to win this raffle, we're giving you a free jersey.
Signed by Don.
I would have had Donovan Mitchell be the centerpiece of this. I would have said to Don, "Hey, we're doing a jersey release. We want you to be the face of it."
Instead of having batting practice with the Mets.
I would have had a camera crew with Don, having him taking batting practice with the Mets. This is the problem. And I know, again, I'm just saying it's awkward right now.
Yeah.
The whole thing is awkward. The whole Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert thing is awkward.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is that I don't believe you have a good relationship with your players right now. I think that losing sucks.
It does.
And I love JC. Jordan Clarkson, I love you, man.
Yep.
I do. You're not the right guy to be the face of the jersey release.
Yeah.
It would have been nice had you made a Rudy Gobert trade to have DeAndre Hunter. Let's just pretend that trade happened.
Yeah, sure.
DeAndre Hunter and Donovan Mitchell walk out from behind a curtain. And who knows what they're going to do today at 11 o'clock.
Maybe they do. I mean, maybe they just roll out. And maybe this was part of keeping it under wraps.
Maybe John and Carl walk out in the purple mountain uniform.
That would be sick.
But this is the kind of stuff that you have to do.
Yeah.
We're in the content creation business. We do this for brands.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to have, we've done a lot for the BMW brand on social, right? You have to have the BMW driving. You have to have the car is the thing.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell's the thing. He's the guy. I want to know what Don looks like in the new black, yellow, or white jersey. I want to know what, that to me is what you have to do. I need, like the mountain jersey, I need John and Carl to walk out in their full uniforms.
Yeah.
Short shorts and all. Let's go. I need 500 fans in a small venue cheering when John and Carl, I need fans freaking the F out when John and Carl walk out in the new the purple mountain jersey.
Right.
Are we going to get that today? I hope so. I hope there is some mind-blowing event around this jersey release because that's what we need. That's what this team needs. We need a win, Ryan Smith. Please, my guy.
Yes.
We need a win.
Yeah.
Somebody have Karl Malone pull a big rig into Vivint Arena. There is no amount of money that you shouldn't spend on this. Paint a tractor trailer. Paint the trailer.
Yeah.
In the new purple mount. Give me something spectacular. Don't give me Jazz Bear on a motorcycle. Please. Please. Give me John and Carl walking out in the purple mountain uniform. I'm begging you, man.
And then have Don walk out in the new one.
Give me Brian Russell falling over to his left and then...
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay, I'll settle for Greg Ostertag. Give me John and Carl. Give me Donovan Mitchell in the new black uniform. Give me Donovan Mitchell in the new golder. And we got it, by the way, new rule on the Monty Show right now. They're not yellow, they're gold.
I don't think I can call them gold, man.
Give me...
They're not gold. They're not.
Give me Donovan Mitchell in a new uniform. Give me the goods, man. I need spectacular.
Yeah, man.
I need spectacular.
I want it.
I've got to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That to me is so critically important because these uniforms, if they're the ones we think they are, they're not great.
But you can make them great.
But if Donovan Mitchell rolls out in that uniform, they're great. If John and Carl roll out in the new purple mountain,
these guys,
they're great.
Listen, we got all these guys who drive Lambos, right? They drive all
Yes.
these badass cars.
Yes.
Why would you not have, just at a minimum, why would you not have one of these dudes rolling up in some ridiculous car and have it wrapped and get it, he's
the dude at Ruth's
jersey.
Chris. The dude at Ruth's Chris, the valet guy said the best car he's ever driven was Jordan Clarkson's Bentley.
Yeah.
Like, dude, let's go. Let's do that. I'm telling you, it better not be Jazz Bear on a freaking Harley. I don't need
fucking execution.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
I need John and Carl wearing the Purple Mountain uniform.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Okay. You know, I need John Stockton walking out with, a mask on because he supports stopping the spread of. Anyway,
All right, comments. What are the people saying?
Neville93 says, I effing love this show. Thank you. Raul Lopez and John Amici walk out in the purple unis. Oh, my God. Did you really just go with a John Amici reference? Amazing.
I'm going to say this again.
1 round left. Amazing. Appreciate that. Josh Lovren says Quincy Lewis and Scott Padgett. Yes. Kenny says John Collins walking out in a Jazz uniform would confirm that Rudy Gobert was gone, which as much as it's needed, Utah wouldn't be ready to hear. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Josh Lovren says BYU could dress a poop in BYU blue and sell it as a Christmas stocking stuffer, and they'd sell out in minutes. BYU hype machine is crazy. Signed,
dude.
Signed by Rudy, Jake. Exactly.
Yes, dude. That's what I'm. But do you see my point? This is as I know as much as you're joking or like tongue in cheek there. It's a
He's
great
actually
point.
not.
He's
not.
It's a great point. Like they literally could take a pile of dung, gift wrap it in BYU blue, and do a hype video around it, and people wouldn't care that it smelled like crap because it's blue.
Royal blue, please.
Like, dude. Figure it the F out, Ryan.
With the Coug wearing the Navy
you
hat.
know, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Have Zach Wilson roll up in his new Lambo.
God. Unbelievable. Kenny says Andrew Wiggins final MVP.
Yeah, okay.
You should have bet me 1,000. Ryan Buckley says best way to start the day off. Morning, boys. What's up?
Morning.
Mitchell Harding, what's up? Mitchell Harding says, I think Tatum just got sent back to reality last night.
Dude,
Truth.
we are going to talk about that.
Truth. Greg Hawkins says, what's up, fam? What's up, Greg? Good to see you. Greg sent me a story this morning about Crown Burger closing in Central City. They're going to put, I know this is shocking here in Salt Lake. They're going to build another apartment building in the avenues.
Bet you weren't expecting this one.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
Neville93 says, yo, it's going to be a great day. You guys was right. Curry got his 4 rings. Truth.
No, whoa, hold on. Oh, you guys about the ring. I was going to say, that wasn't guys on the finals MVP.
Hello. Hey, by the way, Mont, what do you think's going to happen in the NBA finals?
Hey, Monty.
Well there, Monty. I think that I believe I said Golden State in 6 and that it would end so the Jazz could release their uniforms today.
Sometimes I think I just say shit.
Pimp's going to pimp. Ryan Buckley says 11 a.m. Kenny says, how long until the new jerseys come out?
11 a.m.
Josh Lovren says, Donovan not showing off the uniforms isn't a great look. I agree.
But I think we cannot definitively say that yet. I agree with you that maybe they just haven't talked about it, and maybe he will be there. My hope is that he's there.
This needs to be an event.
Yeah, this needs to be a a banger.
Maybe they strap a Purple Mountain jersey on a white salamander, and the thing walks out.
I'm a guy of simple taste.
That's your white salamander reference.
Dude just made a white salamander reference in a Jazz jersey conversation. Do you see how hard he's working over here? White salamanders, not iguanas.
Yeah, red iguanas. The slapper cap guy makes me want to unalive.
Unalive.
Okay. All right, Kenny. 1 round left says needs to change her name to the Utah High Viz. Could be. Josh Lovren, the uniform rumors remind me of the current Marlins uniform. Stop.
Dude.
You just compared the Utah Jazz to the Florida
but
Derek
I'm
Jeters.
Telling you, dude.
I said the Florida Derek Jeters.
Yeah, and he's probably going to leave he probably left a gift basket in the office when he left. What do you want from the guy? It's what he does, right?
If you got that reference, I love you. It's 1 a.m. here. I don't know how long until the jerseys come out. Well, it's 7. You got 4 hours to go, bro.
Yeah. Might want to get on the caffeine train.
You might want to take a nap.
So I said, yeah.
Kay Nurin says, don't care about the new uniforms, just who's in them. Need new players. Wow.
Yeah, like the
KB keeping it real.
Bro, do you know the balls it would take to have Rudy Gobert at this today? After all the trade rumors?
Oh my God.
Could you imagine if
he
Rudy
won't.
and Don were standing? There's no way
No
Rudy
way.
can be there, dude.
No.
No way.
Well, and how much of a bag slap is it to Rudy Gobert if Donovan Mitchell is there?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just thought of that.
It's a statement.
Oh,
it's a statement, man. It is a statement.
I think it's a must. I do. Today has to be theater.
Yes.
Today has to be WWF, baby.
Yeah.
The Macho Man Ryan Smith, yeah.
Yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah, man.
Like you have to. You have to. Wow. Who had a worse release last night, Tatum or Drake? Okay. Drake's not a good basketball player, by the way. Can we put an end to that? Drake,
He's a casual.
Okay. Josh Levern says, Jake, the gift basket had a BYU poo stocking stuffer in it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, come on, dude.
Lovren's on one today.
Yeah, he is.
Lovren, by the way, it's a 3-day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend.
and B12.
Let's go,
Yeah,
baby. Get that smoker out.
Juneteenth on Monday. Let's go.
This is fucking America.
Let's go. Jack is the ultimate hype guy. Jake, do you mean Jake's the ultimate hype guy? Kenny says, if you had to make a bet as of now, will Gobert play in a Jazz uniform again? I do not believe he will.
He will never play in a Jazz uniform, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That said, and the only reason, honestly, the only reason I say that is because I think that the money situation dictates that. Like, you don't bring in, because look at what's happened, right? Like, so you get bounced out of the playoffs, and that was really unfortunate, really rough. The way it went down was not great, just how it all felt, and they basically just ran out of gas, and, it just was a bad look. So you get run out of the playoffs. From there, then the conversation immediately shifts to money and trading Rudy Gobert, because ultimately, again, no fault of Rudy's, not saying Rudy sucks. This has really nothing to do with him as an individual. But because of the money, the expectations go way up.
Lovren sending us crazy pictures of the new Jazz uniform.
Dude, get the hell out of here with ballpoint pen references.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
man.
the point is, listen, I don't think he's going to play in another uniform because you didn't bring Danny Ainge in to do nothing. And I think that Ryan Smith wants to win a championship. Ryan Smith takes the legacy the Millers left behind very seriously, even if he is going to release garbage uniforms today. Like, I think he's really trying and making an effort here. And that's why I say there is going to be a deal done around Rudy Gobert. Now, whether that's with Atlanta, whether they do the DeAndre Hunter thing or they force their way into that or it turns into a 3-team, I don't know. But I'm just telling you, you don't have day after day after day after day of, hey, Rudy Gobert's going to be traded. They're trying to work with the Hawks. Then it's the Raptors. Then it's the Bulls. Then it's this team and that team. Like, all these conversations are happening. That's why I say I don't think we'll ever see Rudy Gobert in a Jazz uniform again, and I don't think he's going to be at a jersey release today. That would be shocking to me.
What will we have a John or Carl sighting today?
John. I don't think Carl. I wouldn't be surprised to see John, but I think
will there be like a stunner or a shocker?
Is Joe Ingles at the jersey release?
No, he is property of the Portland Trail Blazers.
Well, yeah, but Danny Ainge can wear Celtics here, so why can't Joe Ingles?
Look, Sarah Todd, take it easy.
Walked you right down it, baby.
Stupid. Why would you bring that up? Why would you bring this up? God damn it. Okay, so you know that I am a noted disliker of local Salt Lake City media.
I want you to listen to me.
Because they just don't do their jobs.
Right.
So last night, and I still haven't seen an image that says Danny Ainge was wearing a Celtics jockstrap, but you would think that that's what happened. Sarah Todd, Des News. Sarah Todd, Des News, beat writer, Utah Jazz, tweeting last night that she was so upset and it was uncomfortable and she was dismayed to see that Danny Ainge was in Boston supporting the Celtics in their push for a Game 7. And I'm like, are you serious? It's uncomfortable, she said, to see Danny Ainge supporting the Celtics. And supposedly he was in Celtics gear.
Danny Ainge wears a quarter zip like everywhere he goes.
That's his thing.
That's his thing. And the picture, and you can find it on Twitter. It's all over the place. But there's a picture of Danny Ainge with his hand extended to shake Steve Kerr's hand after the game. And the way the picture is sort of positioned, you can't really see precisely what logo is on the quarter zip. But admittedly, it does look like a Celtics logo. It is grainy. You can't, explicitly tell. But in my estimation, it does look like a Celtics logo. Here's the thing. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, why is
what
this
is the
a
problem?
thing? Why is this even a talking point?
Yeah.
Danny Ainge is a Boston Celtic. Deal with it. He was drafted there. He won 2 championships as a player, a 3rd as an executive. He won the Executive of the Year award. He was on the floor with some of the greatest Celtic teams of all time. He was on the floor for one of the greatest plays in the history of the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
He's a Boston Celtic. Why is this even a conversation?
And by the way, adding to the list, he built this team. Do we just forget that? He drafted Jalen and Jason, right?
Yes.
Like, he built the core of this team. So,
why is this a thing?
So that's why I say, like, and again, I always, I never like to bash people in the media. It's not something that I enjoy. I know you do. I understand. Yeah. But like, I don't, you have to go out of your way. You got to do what Andy Larson did. You got to do what Sarah Todd's doing on Twitter to get attention on our show.
In all seriousness, you do. That's exactly right. To get us to mention you on this show.
Yeah.
As a member of the Salt Lake media, if we're going to talk about you, you've either done something really well or something really bad. This is really bad. Sarah Todd taking a shot at Danny Ainge, saying that people in the organization are uncomfortable with it, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you don't understand Danny Ainge's ties to the Boston Celtics, you're just not.
And the insinuation, like you were just saying, the insinuation that there are people in the Jazz organization who are uncomfortable with it, well, I got news for you. There's only one guy that Danny Ainge gives a damn about in that organization, and that's Ryan Smith. And I can guarantee you, Ryan Smith knew he would be there, and Ryan Smith didn't have a problem with it. Because, by the way, it's not like Danny's trying to get back with the Celtics. Danny is a basketball guy, man. Everybody, do you guys not understand? And this is what I think Sarah doesn't get. Everybody is at the NBA Finals. Everybody.
It is, as somebody who's been to a half a dozen, 6 or 8 NBA Finals, I can tell you it is one of the largest networking events in the NBA. And I don't care if Danny Ainge was wearing a Boston Celtic quarter zip. I don't care. He's a Boston Celtic. He just happens to be working for the Utah Jazz. I don't care. It means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I'm not offended by it. I'm not uncomfortable by it. Oh, he wants Boston to do. No, he doesn't. Danny Ainge is a flipping competitor.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, this is just so frustrating to me that
it's
anyway.
low cash. That's the problem.
Anyway, Josh Martin, $5 more tip. Hey, by the way, there is a tip button. It's a $sign at the bottom of the screen. If you want to contribute to the show, we appreciate that. If not, if you're here, you're contributing to the show, but we always appreciate it.
And if you use that tip, it will highlight your comment, and we will see it. It'll stand out, and then we'll read it first.
Yeah, it's highlighted largely. And Josh Martin gave us $5 to answer the question of, what's your opinion on the Deshaun Watson situation?
Oh, damn.
Sidestep. Deshaun Watson has 26 current lawsuits pending against him, and there are supposedly several more to go.
Yeah.
He's going to have at least 30 by some accounts. The NFL front office, according to ProFootballTalk.com, is split. The executive offices at the NFL is split on how to handle discipline of Deshaun Watson. There is a large swath of people in the front office that don't want to remake the Ray Rice mistake of not going far enough. But there is also another large swath of people who don't want to go too far and make a snap decision before this thing is adjudicated. So what's the right thing to do? Take him off the field with pay until this stuff is done. And then when it's done and he goes to court, then you punish him without pay, and the suspension is not retroactive. This is not rocket science. He has got 26 accusations of sexual misconduct against him by 26 different women.
Mm-hmm.
Take him off the field with pay until such a time where all of these lawsuits are done.
Well, and I think a lot of people, a secondary question a lot of people have, or that I've seen, is like, well, he hasn't been found guilty of anything, right? Like there hasn't been an official, hey, you did this and we have proof and, you're guilty. That hasn't happened. But I think, for the NFL, the issue is that he's a detriment to the league's image and brand. And by the way, obviously, as you were just saying with Ray Rice or any of the other examples, you can't, if you're the NFL, you're not going to be able to just let this kind of run on and, basically let it run itself. That's not going to work. And so that's why I say, like, I think the retroactive thing, in my opinion, I think the retroactive thing is a really interesting conversation, because if you suspend him with pay now, then you can't do retroactive. So
yeah, I agree. Totally agree. I think you're exactly right on that. All right. If you're just joining the show, we're talking about the Jazz rebrand today and the fact they're releasing their new uniform. And are you excited about that? What are your thoughts on it? Who do you think is going to be here for that? I'm really hoping for John and or Carl. I'm really hoping for a huge, shocking, stunning event. I am really hoping for an absolute show. Like, I want a show. They're going to have new floors laid out. They're like, let's do a show. Let's have a shebang. Let's get it done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think this needs to be, because if the uniform is what we think the uniform is, the uniform can't carry the event.
Right.
So I think you really need to have a shabazzle type banger.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see Donovan Mitchell roll out in that black, white, or gold jersey. I'd love to see John and Carl walk out of the tunnel together in the Purple Mountain uniform. I'm excited for this event because it can't just be, okay, well, here's some frames of our new uniforms. And by the way, here's Jazz Bear.
My word.
Look at, here's Jazz Bear. Look at the cool purple
nice
uniform.
Harley, bro.
Yeah, and here's a video of some of our players from 1937 wearing the Purple Mountain uniform. Let's watch that video now on the large screen. Okay, well, that was a neat little video there, friends. Don't forget, season ticket packages are available. Call 1-800-WE-DON'T-KNOW-WHAT-WE'RE-DOING.com to book your season tickets now. Ryan Smith is not going to take any questions, and Danny Ainge is still celebrating with the Celtics, so he's not here either. All right, we'll see you when the season starts. Thanks for coming. If that's what this is,
we got problems.
This is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Now, if they play like huge hype music and it's loud and it's proud, and if we get John and Carl walking out, and if we get Donovan Mitchell rolling out in the new uniform, and if we get Don and Jordan Clarkson and they're wearing the new one, and Carl and John are wearing the old one, and they're giving away 500 new uniforms to the first 500 fans to enter a raffle, like, hey, I'm good. And if we're doing the whole nine, and I'm good.
I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today.
If Ryan Smith is sitting there and he takes questions from the media, I'm good. If this is simply a presentation where, me and Mrs. Smith are really happy to be here in front of these new uniforms, I want to thank Johnny's Trophy Shop for framing these up for us. It's a really good job. Don't forget, Swig is going to have a concession stand at Vivid Arena this year. Get your chocolate chip cookies.
Buy tickets. Buy concessions.
If that's what this is,
That's an issue.
that's not good. That's not good at all. I want a huge event.
Yeah.
I want big time video stuff on the massive, look at how big my cock is video board. Look how big the scoreboard is. Lower it. I want great videos. And then I want John and Carl to walk out in the Purple Mountain uniform.
Yeah.
That's what this should be. That's what this should be. One Round Left says Vince McMahon stepped down as CEO of WWE this morning. Well, then he's available to host this event.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be perfect,
Yeah,
right?
can we get John Cena too?
That would be perfect. You know what? It's funny you bring up Vince McMahon. I was talking to Mrs. Monty the other day, and I said, I can't believe I was ever a fan of professional wrestling. Because watching it now, like even the promos that run during weekend marathons of SVU, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. Jeremy Bolton says, I'm actually excited about the uniforms. I'm 40 and I don't really care that much about it. I like them regardless. I want a championship. That's it. If the colors are pink and brown and they win it all, then that's all that matters. Well,
winning helps everything.
But here's the reason. Now, I used to be a jersey guy. Like 20 years ago, oh man, I'd wear jerseys all the time. I don't wear jerseys now. But it makes you money. And if these jerseys are terrible, it's not going to make you the money you should be making. You know, David Glover says, in all seriousness, not excited for the rebrand and not excited about how far we really are from any ships after last night.
Wow.
Jazz are a few huge moves away. Mitchell as one obviously isn't it. Truth Seeker says, talk Jazz, not football. Oh, my bad. Sorry. You want me to talk Jazz, Truth Seeker? Tip us $5. We'll talk about anything you want.
Yeah.
Josh Lovren says, David Glover, if you mean Kerr Krisha, Jazz have a shot at hiring him as head coach because they ain't hiring Steve Kerr. David Glover says, when will we contact Kerr for the coaching job since Ainge and him were together, right? I mean, obviously they shook hands. That must mean that Steve Kerr's the next head coach of the Jazz, right?
Right.
No. He beat the Jazz with Mike, so you know. Just the Michael Jordan.
Yeah, this guy on the wall.
You know.
Buddy.
Anyway, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I am excited for it. By the way, speaking of the NBA Finals last night.
Yeah.
What is Steph Curry's legacy now? Because I think this is a fascinating conversation. Because I think going into that game, obviously we talked about it yesterday on the show. Going into that game, I do think Wiggins had a real chance to win the NBA Finals MVP.
Absolutely.
And his defense was stellar, by the way. Steph earned this MVP. There's no doubt about that. His performance last night sealed this NBA Finals. There's no doubt. He's got 4 rings now, and he's got an NBA Finals MVP. And I know that your guy, because he's right there over your right shoulder, Chaboy,
Right.
Kevin Durant right there over your shoulder.
Right. This guy here, we have this
You
guy.
know.
Right. You know.
But
Yeah.
are you petting his nose?
Yeah, I was actually. I was the preferred nomenclature is caressing
or stroking.
Caressing.
Were you
please.
stroking Kevin's nose?
Yes.
I think he is past Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I think Steph has elevated himself to a tier that is below Mike, Kobe, LeBron. But I do think that he is on the level, you know, of if we're looking at modern era NBA, I think he is on a level of his own just below Kobe and LeBron. And I think it's not close. He's got 4 rings. He's got an NBA Finals MVP now. He's probably going to win at least 1 or 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins 6, he's past LeBron. He's past LeBron. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no doubt in my mind that if he wins 6, he passes LeBron. But I think it's really interesting that Steph Curry is an afterthought when it comes to all-time greats in this league. Like, if you look at the best players in the NBA over the last 10 years, does Steph Curry come to mind?
Oh, I think he comes to mind.
Well, not
for sure.
top of mind.
Yeah.
I mean, Kobe, certainly. I think Tim Duncan, certainly.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Tim Duncan,
best-
Duncan or Steph Curry?
I would take Steph.
Oh,
for sure.
Get out of here.
Steph.
You're taking Steph Curry over Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But Tim Duncan was Kobe's generation.
Well,
Steph is a generation after that.
No, I think Kobe and Steph are they crossed paths, certainly.
Well, they crossed paths, yeah. But what I'm
Certainly.
saying is that Steph represents a generation after Kobe came in. Like Kobe and I mean, I hate to say this, but LeBron's been around for a long time, dude. Like a long time. But like I think that for me, I put Kobe and LeBron in the same time realm, you know. Obviously LeBron is still playing, but I think they were both, you know, in their prime playing against each other. I think Steph didn't really enter his prime until, you know, probably 2015-ish, 2016, like in that time frame. And LeBron had already been playing for a really long time. So when I look at this, what I say is I think what Steph needs to do to pass LeBron is, yeah, he'd need 6. And I think that it would have to be a situation where LeBron doesn't win again. Because if LeBron wins again, that changes the conversation. The issue for LeBron, as it's always been, is that he's been to a ton of NBA Finals.
Yeah.
It's both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness as far as his historical case is concerned. Because on one hand, I can say, hey, man, this guy's been in the NBA Finals a ton of times. But inherently, that means you lost a bunch. And why do we play the game? To win the game. So what do you put more weight on? That's the thing. So when I look at Steph, what I say is, hey, there's no doubt about it, this guy's an all-time great, revolutionized the game, winner, has won before, during, and after Kevin Durant's time with the Warriors, So I think he's an all-time great, but I do think it's really difficult to stack him up amongst the all-time greats and like where he falls.
Tony Parker or Steph Curry? Because Tony Parker's got 4. You got to take Tony Parker.
Why?
Because I mean, he's not arguably, he's the best international point guard ever.
Okay.
He is the leader of one of the best dynasties in the history of professional sports.
But that doesn't give him an edge over the Warriors, right?
Oh man.
But I'm being
those
serious.
Spurs
like, what
teams
are the things
versus
that
those
separate?
Warriors teams?
You see what I'm saying though? Like Steph is the leader of one of the greatest dynasties we've seen. Tony Parker is the leader of one of the greatest
I think one of the
dynasties we've
things
seen.
that you really have to tip your cap to the Spurs on is that 2014 championship.
Yeah.
It's 11 years after their first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's too close to call. I think they're very close. I would lean towards, like, I'd take Steph over Manu Ginobili. I think Manu wasn't the main dude on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Steph, he's the guy.
Yeah.
I look at Tony Parker, him and Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan doesn't happen without Tony Parker. Right?
Yeah.
Tony Parker doesn't happen without Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
But I look at some of the other guys that have, I mean, Tony Parker or Steph Curry. Okay, Steph Curry or Will Purdue. Do you know who Will Purdue is?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, never heard, buddy. No.
You've never heard of Will Purdue?
No.
Wow,
No.
that hurts.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Steph is an all-timer. There's no doubt about that. I mean, without question, he's the best three-point shooter ever.
Yeah.
But if I look at some of these are the names that have 4 rings. Vern Mickelson. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Frank Saul. Do you know who
Nope.
that is? Okay. I look in the modern era, Shaquille O'Neal or Steph Curry.
Man, that is. I think you have to take Shaq, but
You have to.
like
You have to.
but see, here's
Because
my
he
problem.
won 3. He won 3 in a row with the Lakers and then went to Miami and won another one.
Which and that I think is super important for Shaq's case. But my problem is that, and this is why it's so difficult to rank Steph, because when you say, hey, this is Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
This is the most dominant player the league's ever seen. And that's not an exaggeration. And if you disagree with it, go back and watch the tape. He was the most, and I think to this day, dominant player the league's ever seen. The problem is that Steph's done just as much winning, and he's done it with a variety of different players.
Oh,
and
I like that.
And I think that culturally, Steph is better. Culturally speaking, with his guys, Steph is better than LeBron. Steph is better than Kevin Durant. Steph is better than Kobe Bryant, and he's definitely better than Michael Jordan.
Man, Steph is better
with his guys, relationship-wise, culture, like his guys
better than
liking
Kobe.
Guys liking playing with him and wanting to come and play with him.
I totally disagree. I think they're very similar. LeBron and Steph are.
Steph
LeBron
isn't
and
an
Steph,
asshole in the locker room,
LeBron and
dude.
Steph are completely different. Kobe and Steph are very similar. Kobe wasn't an asshole in the locker room. He wasn't. He was an alpha dog in the locker room.
What's the difference?
The difference is that was Kobe's team. And when Kobe had to win a ring without Shaq.
Mhm.
Had to.
Mhm.
Had to. I'm taking Kobe far more over Steph Curry. That's not even close. But if I look at the name you got to ask yourself now is Steph Curry or Dwayne Wade, because D Wade's got 3, Steph has now 4.
D Wade wouldn't have 3 without LeBron. That's the problem. D Wade never did.
Well, would Steph have 4 without KD? Would Steph have 4 without Curry? Or would Steph have 4 without Clay and Dre? I mean, your team is what makes you. Would Mike have 6 without Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, Will Purdue?
Yeah, but none of those guys are LeBron James, with all due respect. None of those guys are the best player in the league, with all due respect.
I mean, there's something to that.
I mean,
I think there's something to that. I think you got to nod Steph over Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I mean, I think Steph's...
You have to.
See, and but again, this is why it's so damn difficult, because Steph Curry's not 6'6", 280 pounds, right? Steph Curry is a really just unique player, man, with the way he goes about it. I mean, being able to do this when most of your chances come from three-point range is another conversation in and of itself. I mean, Michael did not. Kobe did not. Dwayne Wade did not do all their stuff from 3.
No.
It's
but
a totally
look at
different
LeBron.
game.
The reason that I give so much credit to LeBron James in this conversation is because he did it with 3 different teams. He won 4 championships on 3 different teams, and arguably, he's the reason the Lakers won that championship in the bubble. Arguably, not arguably, he's the only reason the Cavs won that championship.
Well, and what's the biggest calling card for LeBron over Steph? The 3-1 comeback to beat him.
Yeah.
That's the biggest calling card. That's why I say,
I
think head up, you got to edge LeBron.
Woo.
But I think if Steph gets to 6,
Man.
that changes things. Because then he's going to be able to say...
Well, if Steph gets to 5 and LeBron does not, because LeBron's got 1 more ring in him. That's it.
Yeah.
Steph could win 3-4 more.
Yeah.
There's no reason that Steph Curry, if with Bob Myers as his general manager, the Lakers as his owner, Steve Kerr as his head coach, there is no reason that the Golden State Warriors won't win 3-4 more titles in the next 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Steph's probably got at least 5 to 7 years left in him, at least. So he could win. He could be the Tom Brady of the NBA. I mean, he is on track to do that because he's in the best organization in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to beat the Golden State Warriors in the way they do business.
Yes.
And to me, Steph could win. Steph could double up on what he's got now. There's no doubt about that. He's not going to win 10. He's not going to be Boston Celtic winning 10.
Yeah.
This league has got too much parity in it. The Golden State Warriors were by far the best team in the West this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Health, your mom, there's a lot of factors.
Willingness to play, desire to keep playing. That's another thing that I think is really fascinating.
And Steph talked about he's not done, not close to done.
Yeah.
I think he wants a couple of more of those MVP trophies too.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Wade won 2 with LeBron James. He did. Correct. Kenny said Steph is a GOAT at point guard. Gabe Ledley said, would KD have any without Steph?
No. Nope. And that's why I say I think Steph winning this title the way he did and after the 2 seasons of them just struggling because of injuries and everything they went through, that's why I think Steph is ahead of Kevin Durant. And look, I own
Does
it.
Kevin regret leaving Golden State?
Oh, I'm sure he does. But at the same time, he's got to get out and win one on his own. I mean, that's got to happen, dude. I mean,
he has got to go and not, if he wins one in Brooklyn, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But, you just have to figure, Kevin's got to win a couple more.
Because right now, Kevin's legacy, honestly, yes, I would say Kevin Durant is a winner. But the problem is that I don't think he's going to be remembered for all the championships he won at this point. I think he's going to be remembered as the best scorer the league's ever seen. That's what I think.
And my question is, what happens if the owner of Oklahoma City doesn't screw the city of Seattle and the Sonics are still a thing? Is Kevin Durant still in green and gold? I think there's a real chance he is.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. Spencer Morgan says we need to have a culture where it's okay to wait for evidence process to prove something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's related to Deshaun. I think that's a great point. I think you're exactly right. Big Dog O-Town, the Tony Parker Curry argument got to go with Curry because of his 3-point shooting. This man is a bona fide assassin. He is.
Yeah, dude.
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
And
Shout to Obama.
Yeah, I think Big Dog, you're right. There's no doubt about this. I think these conversations are fascinating because there's no right or wrong.
There's no criteria.
Yeah, and there's no winner or loser. We're just chopping it up on the NBA, and I think that's what's great about this show. That's why we love doing this show every day. I mean, it is. You think about Steph Curry in the history of guys. Think about who he's chasing. Here are the guys that have won 5. Tim Duncan, Derek Fisher, Kobe Bryant, Steve Kerr, Ron Harper, Dennis Rodman, Magic Johnson, Michael Cooper, Don Nelson. Think about the guys who have 6. Pippen, Michael Jordan, Kareem, and Bob Cousy.
Dude, 6 is elite. 6 is elite.
Put yourself in that group. How many guys have 7 rings? Only one you've ever heard of, Robert Horry. Right? 8, you got to go back to the Celtics. Satch Sanders, John Havlicek, Casey Jones, Tommy Heinsohn. 10, Sam Jones. 11, there's only one in Bill Russell. Think about what Steph Curry has the opportunity to do now.
Yeah.
He can get to 7. I'm telling you, the guy can get to 7. If he puts himself with Robert Horry, Frank Ramsey, he'd be the best to ever win 7.
Yeah.
He would be an all-time great player. He could arguably be the best player of his generation. You don't accidentally win 7 rings.
Yeah.
Robert Horry didn't accidentally win 7 rings.
And that's, I think, a great point. When you look at these guys and like if you look at LeBron's career, yeah, you don't accidentally win 4. I agree with that. But I also think that, what really hurts LeBron is all the ring chasing. He is the poster child for it. And I think that will kind of.
But why is that a bad thing?
Because I think that I think that one team guys are a dying breed. Steph Curry, to me, is the last great one team guy.
But see, this is what I say about my guy Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to leave Phoenix to win a championship, in my opinion. Like there's I was told last night by an NBA source that I trust that the Rockets and the Suns are talking about a deal that centers around DeAndre Ayton and John Wall. And if that trade happens, I think Phoenix has a great chance to win a championship. Now we need to see what else comes their way, how they build that team, how does John Wall fit in with Book and CP3, like a lot of questions. They're a better team without DeAndre Ayton and with John Wall.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt in my mind about that. But Devin Booker's probably got to go to the Lakers to win a championship. Is he a ring chaser if he does that? No, he's not.
I think what's interesting about the ring chasing thing is that it depends on the situation you go to. Kevin Durant, you're a ring chaser.
Yes.
When you went to the Warriors to win a ring, you're a ring chaser.
Yes.
If you go to, if Book goes to the Lakers and wins a championship with LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think that's a really dynamic conversation because I can make a really strong case that Book, while yes, he went there to win a championship, he's not going there. LeBron is not the best player in the league right now. I want to put that to bed. He is one of the best, but he's not the best guy in the league. I don't think.
So the best player in the league
I think that conversation centers around Giannis or Steph right now. I think that those two guys can do things that other guys just can't.
I'm not taking anybody but Kevin Durant. When you ask me who's the one player in the NBA that's singularly the best player, it's Kevin fucking Durant. Like
okay,
it's
cool.
not. Excuse
Kevin
my
Durant.
French.
Fine.
Excuse my French. I know that there's a big conversation about how much we do or don't curse on this show. But I'm telling you, Kevin Durant's the best player in the NBA.
Okay, Kevin Durant. My point is, Book on LA, I wouldn't categorize that as him ring chasing in a really bad fashion because he's not going to the best team in the league like Kevin Durant.
He's not
did with
KD
the Warriors.
going to the Warriors.
Yeah,
he's not
you know
LeBron taking Chris Bosh to the Heat with Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, like it's different.
I agree with that.
It's totally different. And that said, while we have Book, because I know we have to move on here, we got to get going, but I think last night Jason Tatum really hurt his legacy. And he has a lot of proving to do. You're the only player in NBA Finals history to have turned it over 100 times in the NBA Finals, number one. Number two, you have now failed to win a championship, 4 years in a row. You lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to LeBron. You got to the NBA Finals this year in what was an amazing story, and you lost to Steph, which I think really hurts. And now you're going to have to figure out what the future is. Because I got news for you. Early in the Eastern Conference Finals, I was a big Jaylen Brown proponent. I was really impressed.
Dude, you're exact. He turned the ball. Jason Tatum
100
turned
times.
it over 100 times in the playoffs.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Jason Tatum turned the ball over 100 times.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God. Tatum shot 31% from the field with 23 turnovers in the finals, finishing the playoffs with a record 100 turnovers, the most by any player in an NBA postseason history.
When I go back and look at what Book did in the NBA Finals, you have to take Devin Booker over Jason Tatum right now. You have to.
Yeah, I think sadly, I think the Suns are going to melt down over Robert Sarver. Like this whole thing where this lady quit and another scandal.
But it'll facilitate Book's exit.
I think it will.
That's what needs to happen.
I think Book is going to wind up leaving. And I think the only place he would ever go and play is LA because of his relationship with Kobe. But I wouldn't call that ring chasing. But anyway, the point is, I think Kevin Durant's the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
B, I think that Steph Curry can win. I think he can win 7 championships. And C, unfortunately, and I asked you this last night while we were watching the what did I ask you when the Warriors were getting that trophy?
I don't remember.
What would it be like if that was at Vivint Arena?
Oh,
and Donovan Mitchell was the one raising that trophy over his head.
He needs to be there today, dude. Don needs to be there today.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, exactly right, Gabe Ledley. Please don't get Coach Lovren going on Seattle. Josh, go to Starbucks.
I don't blame you,
Take a
dude.
chill
I'd
pill.
be pissed too.
Tanner says, what's your guy's definition of ring chaser? Well, it's the guy who goes to, it's Kevin Durant going to Golden State, joining Steph, Clay, and Dre to win a ring.
You're joining a situation that was already championship material so that you can win a ring.
You're a topper.
You didn't, exactly.
You're a
you
topper.
didn't go to a situation that desperately needed a player to have a chance just to play for a championship.
You didn't go to Miami. LeBron brought Chris Bosh to Miami, and it's ring chasing, no doubt about it. But he made it a place where they could win a ring.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Karl Malone going to the Lakers was ring chasing.
Yes.
That's a disgrace. That's ring chasing. Book going to LA, I don't think could be ring chasing. I really don't. Kenny says, not even I have made that many turnovers in the finals. Get good, scrub.
It's wild.
100 turnovers in the postseason.
It's
for Jason
insane,
Tatum.
dude. Like
I said 100.
Yeah.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
100 turnovers in a postseason. That's incredible.
And you wonder why most of their series went 7 games.
Good Lord. Well, Josh, you're not wrong. Devin Booker would be chasing Kobe's ghost if he ends up in LA.
But that's not ring chasing.
Yeah. No,
that's
but
different.
But I think it's the problem for guys like Tatum and the problem for guys like Book is every time you do something like turn the ball over 100 times and lose in the finals,
yeah,
all you're doing is adding another level to the mountain.
Yep.
You're just adding another 100 feet to the mountain.
Yep.
Dad,
Honey, what's wrong?
I got in an accident.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
Okay, did you call the police yet?
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna call an advocate and you can tell us both at the same time, okay?
Hey, Sarah, your dad told me that you need help.
So, is there anything that I need to do? Or...
Just focus on getting better.
With an advocate on your side, you're never alone.
Today's the day. And look who I just met.
Hey, Dad.
You deserve a worry-free recovery. You deserve an advocate.
How good of a story are the Jazz? And, you know, they sweep 2 from Memphis. You feel really good about what the Jazz are doing. But, Jake, I guess the overall question here is, are the Utah Jazz a playoff team?
Yeah, you know, I think that's a crazy question for us to be asking. Like, you know, if we had asked that question before the season, everyone would have been like, what are you, like, are you insane? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? You know, and I think now with the way that they're playing, they've kind of skyrocketed themselves into the conversation. I mean, when you show the ability to beat a team like Memphis, you know, and beat them handily, it forces the question. And I mean, I think if they can continue to play this way, like, I think they have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. I know for a fact. We were talking about the fact that they could scrape into the play-in, you know, and when I say they can be a playoff team, I think that they're good enough to get through the play-in, it feels like, and get into a series maybe. But I still maintain that it'll be interesting to see, you know, how relevant or how around the injury bug is for this team. You know, are they able to stay healthy for most of the year? Because I do think that's going to be a requirement for this team. They're not a team that can sustain, you know, a Markkanen issue or a Beasley issue or a Vanderbilt issue and still get the job done. So that to me would be the only thing that would limit what they can do. But if everything remains the same, if this is kind of what we get, then I do think they're capable of making the playoffs. Will they be able to beat teams like, you know, the top dogs in the West? Probably not. You're probably not beating the Warriors regularly or the Suns or whatever, but they're beating most of the mid-level talent so far, and that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that's how you make the NBA playoffs. You got to win the games against teams that are beatable, and it's surprising that this team is so good defensively. I think that's the biggest surprise that I have. I think we all expected this team to be competitive. I just don't know that we expected Malik Beasley to shoot this well or that they could shoot 40% from 3 and win games doing it. I mean, it's just remarkable to me that here we sit, and this is a team that is really defending. The ball movement is spectacular. I don't know how else to describe it. And you look at the numbers coming out of that game last night, and quickly you realize that the Jazz are just playing better basketball than you are. That's really what this comes down to. And I think if you really take the time to look at how they're winning these games, they're getting timely shooting. They're moving the basketball. And again, I think they're just playing really, really solid defense. And I'm so impressed with that.
Yeah, I think situationally, they're really good. I think Will Hardy's done a great job of initially here kind of diagnosing what each player's good at and trying to get them in the position to execute at what they're good at. So like as an example, you're basically telling Jordan Clarkson, hey, look for your shot, right? Like you're gonna be the spark on offense, but don't force it. Don't play one-on-one constantly. Like what you want to do is you want to use the pick and roll. You want to get into some space and then understand your options and try to make the best decision. And I think that ultimately, and that's kind of what you were saying, like they're making good decisions, which leads to, good-looking basketball, high-level basketball. And I think that's the thing. You will know, like this team inevitably will go through a stretch this season where they're not playing good basketball. And what that will look like is them not moving the ball and them kind of forcing it. And then they will come back to what they're doing now. And so that's what impresses me about Will Hardy. There was this whole raging thing about, is Will better than Quinn or where does Will stack up? I'm not even really interested in that conversation. I'm just interested in the fact that the guy has these guys looking for the correct basketball play at the right time. And that's why they're beating teams like the Grizzlies. That's why the timely shooting has been so consistent, because these guys are getting quality looks.
Well, I also think when you shoot 40% from three, you're going to win a lot of games. Some of the numbers that stand out last night, they gave up 42 free throws in that game. And thankfully, Memphis only shot 54% from the free throw stripe, which is shocking. But they're winning games by moving the ball. 26 assists to 14 assists. They won the assist battle last night. 6 blocks last night. 16 turnovers last night. They're just playing really good basketball and playing really good defense. Now, the foul thing, you're going to have to foul less. I don't think you cannot commit 30 fouls a game. You cannot. And expect to win, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think that that 40% from three number, I think is something that we should pay attention to, because last year, for all you people who listen every day and for the hardcore Jazz fan, that number, right? Like 40% from three is a number you're very familiar with. And I think it's important to understand that last year's team, when we talked about them shooting 40% from three, the quality of that look that they were getting was not near the quality of look that these guys are getting. So like Malik Beasley, to me, is not the shooter Bojan Bogdanovic is, right? The problem is...
You mean that multimillionaire who got a huge contract extension from Detroit?
That you gave away for a very generous charity donation to the Detroit Pistons. Yes,
I don't know why I can't get over that deal.
Well, because it's
that
bothersome.
Deal still pisses me off.
It's bothersome on some level. Like, you always have... Like, I feel like in the NBA, from a business standpoint, there's always casualties, meaning that there's always guys that end up being given away that, are valuable and... could have contributed. But I feel like if Bogey was still here, on the other hand, if he was still here, I don't know that he would necessarily fit into this group great, because this group is a high-energy group. This group is one that works really hard on defense. And Bogdanovic is not some great defender. He's not a guy that's quick or fast or, like, super mobile. Like, he is a sniper. He is a three guy that kind of hopes to get the job done on defense, hopes to make it passable, I guess, is kind of what he tries to do. So, yeah, I mean, it is frustrating that Bogdanovic goes to the Pistons. They light it up, and not last night, but the night before, they're playing the Warriors, and he's just knocking it down, man. Like the combination of, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, and Bogdanovic is a tough one. But the point just is, for the Jazz, I think that, it was unfortunate you gave him away, essentially. Like, I don't think that's too harsh to say. But I think the trade-off for that has been, you do have a nice young group here, and the expectations are relatively low, and it is easy to feel good about yourself. And so I'm just curious, like, how long can this caliber of basketball be sustained? How long will they stay disciplined in, the scheme, essentially?
Yeah.
How long will they continue to, like, a lot of the points, like Markkanen last night has a huge night. probably 5 or 6 times he got easy buckets off of, weak side cuts, off of Jordan Clarkson just driving. Like, those are the type of things they're looking for. And that is what you don't see a lot in the league right now. So I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm not sure how a team is going to stop them exactly right now. I'm not sure what that looks like, because you can't really stop a guy from driving off the weak side wing. That's not. Like, there's no defense for that.
No, and but I think they also have the ability to, I think they also have the ability to play multiple styles defensively. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think you're wrong. I just think that this team has the athletes now to play multiple, like to beat Ja Morant. I mean, you allowed him to score 37 points, but they effectively shut everybody off last night. And again, I just think Vanderbilt's defense is so good. It is so good. And to me, that's what's really standing out about this team is the want to and the absolute desire to be the best defensive team in the NBA, I think is really impressive. And that really stands out to me. Your comments on the Utah Jazz are always welcome. We'll get those in 15 seconds after we hear this from the Advocates.
You've been in an accident and now you're injured. Though it wasn't your fault, you now have to deal with getting your car fixed, mounting medical bills, and insurance companies who don't play fair. But don't worry. The experienced team at the Advocates are here to get you the support you need.
Hi. Is that
Hello?
better? Jake is like, hey, dude, you got to fix your hair. It looks terrible.
I didn't say it looks terrible.
What,
I said,
why
like,
do you
have
care?
this little poof in front.
Yeah, so look
I'm just trying to
look
help.
at this thing. Like,
I'm
whatever
just
this
I'm just trying to help, man. That's all.
Is that better?
I'm just trying to help. Went
and saw my guy Jay Taffa last night. Got the wig cut last night.
Yeah.
It's all good. You
there you go. Yeah,
It's
see,
fine.
that's better. That's
Is that better? You
that's
approve?
better. Yeah.
What are you, Vidal Sassoon over here?
Yeah.
Take it easy. Let's get your thoughts on the Utah Jazz. They win. Take 2 straight from Memphis. They're in Dallas tomorrow. Let's start off with Mike Chase, who says, morning, fellas. Hope your Halloween was good. We got to talk about Halloween, by the way.
Yeah.
Because this whole adult trick-or-treating thing, no.
All due respect.
Dude, it's not okay. It's not okay. You cannot be a full-grown, hair on your chest, you have BO coming up to the door asking for a Twix bar. No. The answer is no. That's not going to do it at all. To answer your question directly, Mike Chase. He says, I think the Jazz might be a playoff team, not completely sold on them just yet because I don't know this team yet. I think the only thing you need to know is that they are willing and wanting defenders, and they shoot the lights out on good nights. I mean, Malik Beasley, am I the only one that's really impressed by what he's done recently? I mean, last night, Malik Beasley gave you 18 off the rack, 7 of 12 from the floor, 4 of 9 from 3, 4 rebounds, 4 dimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's solid for a bench guy.
Yeah.
Now you understand why he was in such demand around the league. I thought Colin Sexton looked great at times last night.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's starting or coming off the bench, I don't know that it really matters because he plays a good amount of minutes. But I just like what this team is doing. I mean, I think, obviously, I think we're starting to see Talon Horton-Tucker's ability. Again, another guy that can play multiple styles of basketball, which I really like. And that doesn't even account for the fact that I thought he got really nice balanced scoring, although Jordan Clarkson was at times terrible. Not terrible, terrible. He was not good last night, but you're not relying on one guy anymore.
Yeah.
If he's struggling, Markkanen's putting up 31. If Markkanen's struggling, Mike's scoring 15. Like, you just have different guys that are contributing across this lineup, and I think that's why if you're a Utah fan, that's why you should be excited. Kenai Johnson, good morning to you. You're being a jerk today. I got like 3 hours of sleep last night.
This is what we do now. This is why.
Why do we do that?
For BYU.
Okay. But so Jake got me sick. So Jake had the infection. He went back to his girlfriend. He got sick. All the things that you should never do.
Right.
And then he passed on that infection to me now. So last night I woke up. I went to bed at like 9. Woke up at 11:30 having a coughing fit.
Uh-huh.
And I was basically up to about 1:10, 1:15. And then like every 5 minutes I was waking up and going back to sleep.
An antibody cocktail.
It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Today will be nap day. So I don't need any of your garbage today,
Listen,
sir.
I'm just trying to have fun with it, okay?
Kanai says, top of the morning, fellas. Can we beat the Mavs, Suns, and Warriors in the West? I don't know if you can beat those teams in the playoffs.
I think the Mavs you can have your way with. I think they're a slow, plodding team that I think you can get a lot of easy buckets on. The Suns and the Warriors, on the other hand, I think will be difficult for you because they play with pace. They're very good defensively. They can be physical when they need to be. They're not. I don't think those two teams look to be physical, but they can match physicality, which I think is an important trait. And I also think last night, early in the game, you saw something that I think is a weak point on this Jazz team, which is physicality. I don't think that this Jazz team has a great answer for when guys like Dylan Brooks are bullying Markkanen. There's not a great – you don't have a guy on this team right now that can answer that. And that's fine. I mean, obviously this is not a super physical league, but I think in the playoffs or in games against, the Suns or like against Luka, Luka's going to look to be physical against this team. That's part of his game. And that'll be interesting to see how they answer that because I don't feel like they're a super physical team. That's not really their style.
Do you need to be physical to win?
Yeah, I think on some nights you do. Yeah, I think it's required. I think you have to be able to set a tone.
Yeah, well, certainly we'll watch that. Jesse Harsh, good morning. Morning, boys. I'm here for the hard-hitting questions. Best costume you've worn? I don't believe you've ever worn a costume once.
No.
Never, not one time in your entire life.
No, as a kid I did. But
well, Thomas the Tank doesn't count.
Well, that's still a costume, though. I mean, come on.
As an adult, I think
facts straight.
The only costume I've ever worn was that of a male stripper.
I'm a man.
But, that wasn't on Halloween either, so I guess that doesn't count. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big dress-up guy. I'm not a... Okay. San Diego State Aztec says, good morning, go Suns. Go Devin Booker. Thank you. Code N9N3 says, good morning, gents. Hi, Code. Aztec says, best costume, full-out Darth Vader last night, voice box and all. Wow.
Attaboy.
Did you really? Yeah, let's hear if you dressed up for Halloween, let's hear what you did. Teddy Wayman, how the heck are you? Gage Carter says, morning, guys. I think Dylan Brooks stepping over Mike Conley lit a fire that even Ja couldn't put out. Dylan Brooks is kind of a jerk.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'd love to have him on my team, but that guy's kind of a jerk. And I just think they shot the ball so well last night. It was going to be tough to beat the Jazz.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
That old adage of like, the superstar in any given team is going to get his, so Ja is going to get 37, but if you're able to stop everybody else, then you're probably going to win the game. And I think that's the amazing thing about this team. Like I don't think so obviously it needs to be said that nobody saw this team performing at this level, right? I think a lot of people had questions, including myself, about how this team was going to come together and how legitimate is Will Hardy as a head coach. And I think that the thing with it is that I think because the expectations were lower, the conversation was, is this team gonna even be there were people saying this team wasn't going to win 20 games. That was a low end of the extreme. I always felt like they were a 30-win team right out the gate. And I think because the expectations were so low, it just allowed them to focus on fundamentals, like on hey, okay, if I have the ball on the strong side, there's probably a guy that I can find in the corner or on the weak side wing. Like that's a basic basketball concept that I feel like this team utilizes really well, and it gets them wide open look after wide open look. And it's really interesting to see how the half-court game with this team is going to evolve, because I think even from the first game, it has evolved a little bit. I see little things that they do better now than they did, in their first couple of games. So that's why I say, I think this team still has things that they can get better at. They still can play a little bit higher level of basketball, and that's going to be required if they have any aspirations of, even sniffing a playoff series. They're going to have to be really good, but I think they're capable of it. It's just going to be a matter of A, staying healthy, but B, being disciplined within the scheme that Will Hardy has given them to play in. Because when they are, you see the results. You see a 10 10, 12-point win, whatever it was, last night. You see a good quality performance against what a lot of people would tell you is an NBA Finals contender in the Grizzlies. So I just think it's impressive.
Yeah, I think it is impressive. Impressive is the word that I would use. I would agree with that 100%. No doubt about it. Salty drunk. Stop being nice. It feels weird to me. When you're nice, salty drunk, it feels weird. He says, "Morning, guys. Have a great show." Like, do you need something? Are you gonna ask me for a loan? Like, what? Why are you being nice? You know what I mean? Like when your bro, who's usually a jerk, is like, "Hey, bro, man, that's a really good outfit, dude. Hey, can I borrow $20?" Like that's what that feels like.
Yeah,
that's what that feels like to me. So there you have it. Really hope Ainge doesn't flip Lauri for picks. Maybe. Could be. I think that depends on where this team is in the second half. Jazz playoffs, 50 games. Yeah, I don't see him winning 50 games. I don't see that happening. Uncle Jimmy, yes, the Jazz are a force and they will make the playoffs. We will just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, as you should.
As you should. As you should. Mina Gray says, good evening from the Philippines. Good evening, Mina Gray. Appreciate you being here. Dylan Brooks might be the most hated man in Utah. Well,
there's still that guy named Russell Westbrook, so,
Was he involved in the Steven Adams thing?
Who?
Dylan Brooks. Did you see that, by the way? So he basically, I don't remember who he shoved, but he shoved one of the Jazz men into Steven Adams, and I think Adams broke his jaw. And this was after the technical foul, so screw him. It is what it is.
It's really despicable.
Jake Sperling, what's up? Couldn't deal with either Lauri or Conley injury for such a long stretch, I think, but almost everyone else could be covered. I would agree with that. Jake also says, so Dylan Brooks broke Stevens' jaw when he threw was it Vanderbilt? Into him. Haven't heard a better explanation. Yeah, I mean, that looked like it hurt. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
I just, like the stepping over Conley thing, is it a technical foul? Probably. But you're just being a jerk.
Yeah, that's who he is as a player. I mean, he is an a-hole. Like, that's who he is.
Do you like him or not like him?
I'd like him if he was on my team. I hate him because he's on the Grizzlies. That's what, that's what it is. I think that, you love that playoff. Like, I would love to set Dylan Brooks loose on Luka Doncic. I would love that because he would be super physical with them. It would be a battle. Like, that's the kind of guy Dylan Brooks is, and that's what you
But
want
do
to do
you want
with him.
Dylan Brooks on your team?
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah.
I would love Dylan Brooks on my team.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that the NBA is soft, and I think that there are guys in the league who have a brand for being physical, and I think the officials cater to that. Like, that's why I think Pat Bev has been able to make such a career on what he's done.
Well, and that's the guy that I was going to say. Like, Patrick Beverley's a guy that you want on your team, but, when you're going against him, you hate him. And I think Dylan Brooks is very similar to that guy. I don't hate Dylan Brooks. I just understand what he is.
Yeah.
And what he is he's a jerk. He's a guy that tries to stir the drink. And he does a good job of that. And, I mean, I think the far more important player to them is Brandon Clark, who, if memory strikes me, left that game hurt too. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Dylan Brooks, I think, is a really interesting conversation. Sir Robin, good morning. The previous Jazz had already reached their zenith, so blowing up the roster was a really good thing. Well, I think now people can, Jake Sperling said Tony Jones made the point that any Bojan minutes would basically take Lauri's minutes, and that non-starters with this, and that's a non-starter with this, Lauri Markkanen. Well, I'm not advocating to keep Bojan Bogdanovic on the team. What irks me about the Detroit trade is that you got nothing for him. With all due respect, Kelly Olynyk, I mean, is he not a guy you can replicate 10 different ways with a bunch of different dudes? I think he is. With all due respect. Right? I mean, he's given you solid contributions, but that's all you got for Bojan Bogdanovic when the Lakers were desperate? I mean, that's what I hate about it. I'm not saying that Bojan needs to be here. What I'm saying is it would have been nice to get something more than nothing. I mean, seriously. Neville93 says, good morning, Monty. Neville, what's up? Good to see you. David Morris, I'm not sure why you don't like KO. He is a pretty good three-point shooter and plays pretty decent defense. KO? What am I missing?
Who's KO?
Yeah, who's KO? I'm not even...
Kelly Olynyk.
Oh, Kelly Olynyk. Well, it's not that I don't like Kelly Olynyk, but you can replicate that guy. I mean, he doesn't do anything special. He doesn't do anything unique. He's an older player. I mean, he's just not. What is special about Kelly Olynyk? If I put Kelly Olynyk and Bojan Bogdanovic next to each other, every NBA general manager is taking Bojan. That's my issue. It's not that Kelly Olynyk sucks, but you needed more than Kelly Olynyk for Bojan Bogdanovic. I mean, it's that
pretty
simple.
cut and dry.
Sorry to wake you up.
Thank you.
Salty Drunk says, how about my boy Jock killing it at the Suns? Hey, yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. Fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? 626 on the Monty Show. Our Jazz Talk, as always, is brought to you by our good friends at Tri-Day Trading. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Listen, again, here we are about 6:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. How much are you dreading going to work today? How much are you dreading, thinking to yourself, man, how am I going to pay my way out of this credit card debt? Hey, how am I going to afford my mortgage in November? Today's mortgage day. It's November 1st. How strapped are you because of your mortgage? Stop living that life. I'm begging you to stop living that life. Take action and build a better life for you and your family. Build the life you've always dreamed of by becoming a day trader with TryDayTrading.com. And listen, I understand people always ask me, oh, is it legitimate? Being a day trader is absolutely a legitimate way to change your life. Walk away 180 degrees from the life you live to the life that you want, because you can become anything you want as a day trader. And if you go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty, watch the free webinar. That's all I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to spend money. I'm not asking you to make some big old commitment. Go watch a free webinar and make your choice, because, again, and I say this really seriously, and I mean this, it's time to stop talking about the life you should have. Right? So many people right now are like, man, I should be driving a Lambo. I should be in a 5-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms and a jet tub. I should be this. I should be at Disneyland. I should be on vacation. Well, you're not, because you're not, right? You're not on vacation because you're not doing the things you need to do to be able to afford that, nicer house. At TryDayTrading.com, they're going to not only teach you, mentor you, and coach you, they are going to walk you through the process of becoming a day trader, and they are going to teach you how to live that life in the long term. And by the way, your first trades, when you're ready to rock and roll, your first trades are not with your money. Your first trades are with TryDayTrading.com's money. And if you make money with their money, they split the profit with you 50-50. That's how confident they are that they can make you a prolific day trader. Stop worrying about your debt. Start building your life at TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Go watch the free webinar and do what so many people have done. Go watch the webinar and then DM me and let's talk about it. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you watch that webinar and you still think I'm crazy. And I had this conversation with a bro last couple of weeks ago, who's like, I'm going to do it just to tell you what an idiot you are. You go and watch it, and what happens? Oh, well, maybe actually you're not an idiot, and I'm gonna get involved in it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So check them out. Utah Jazz Talk on the Monty Show, presented by Tri-Day Trading. What's up, my guy, New York Monty fan? Good to see you. Jazz outplayed the Grizzlies and the refs. Really fun game to watch. There were a lot of, ticky-tack fouls.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, really?
Dude, you get those kind of calls because of guys like Dylan Brooks. When they know it's going to be physical, when they know that they got to keep a grip on the game, you're going to get some of those, really, we're blowing the whistle on that type calls. That's what happens.
There are so many calls that in the NBA, it's a tough game to officiate. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Just don't blow the whistle. It's a non-call.
Yeah.
If you would just let guys play and let it be a non-call, I'm telling you the game would be so much better off. But these guys want to blow the whistle repeatedly. And again, this is why this is why. You look at the free throw disparity. Memphis shot 42 free throws last night.
Yes.
The Jazz shot 22 free throws.
Yeah.
Was the difference in the game. It's why Memphis lost the game. They were 23 of 42. They shot 54% from the stripe. Can't do that and win.
Yeah.
Cannot do that and win. Scott Mansfield says, I've been watching the clips of Laker bros claiming we are going to give them our best players. Why would we even consider it? Well, I would tell you that you're not going to keep this roster together the entire year. You're not winning a championship. I think the Jazz would like to be a playoff team. With the amount of picks they have in the first round and the amount of talent in this upcoming draft, you're going to wind up trading a guy like a Malik Beasley. Now, is that to the Lakers? I have no idea. I don't know. But if the Lakers offer you the best deal and you can get another first-round pick, why would you not do that? Ask yourself that question. Why would we not make that trade?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, they had a deal done with the Lakers, and the Jazz just chose not to do it. The Jazz walked away from it. And it's inexplicable that you walked away from trading Bojan Bogdanovic to the Lakers, and instead you traded him for Kelly Olynyk to the Pistons. And again, not to be redundant, because I know we've talked about the Bojan trade, but that's what pisses me off about that trade so much is he should be with the Lakers, and the Jazz should have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
That they don't currently have. That's what's so frustrating about it. NY Monty fan says Dylan Brooks is a new and improved Pat Bev. Don't disagree. Also says, guys. You want on your own team but hate to play. Yeah,
hey guys.
Guys you want on your team, but you hate to play against them.
Hey guys.
Yeah, hey guys. Hey guys.
Guys.
David Morris says, I was Farmer Joe. Oh, your costume. I was Farmer Joe to go along with my daughter, who was a scarecrow watching over a pumpkin patch, the pumpkin being her pregnant belly.
Okay.
That feels a little awkward.
Pause, bro. Pause.
David, okay, let's move on. Dale Donuts. Good morning, gents. Went to the Jazz game last night. I don't remember the crowd being this large on a weekday for a team that was not expected to be good. Well, I think that's also one of the great stories of this year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt the crowd has been madness.
Yeah, well, I think when it's fun to go to, fans are going to go to it.
I still maintain that black uniform on that floor.
It's nice, dude.
Baby.
It's nice.
Hey, bae. That's a nice floor. That's a nice uniform. For sure. Yeah, Mark Hale says, you guys saw my costume. Mark Hale's dressed up as a fan of the Monty Show.
Yeah, as a tried and true casual.
And I have to tell you, that was
rather brilliant.
That was quite remarkable.
Yeah.
Quite remarkable. Zayman says, Danny appears to have faked everyone out. This team isn't a rebuild. It's a retool. It looks like a reload. How long have we been saying that? I feel
like we've been saying that. Yeah, I feel like we've been the only people saying they're not rebuilding.
Yeah, I agree. The biggest stories in sports this morning presented by our good friends at Quick Quack Car Wash. Make sure without hesitation that you get to Quick Quack Car Wash. And again, I tell you, the Quick Quack Car Wash in South Jordan, the district, right there on 114th, right next to Canes.
Yes.
Canes, thank you. Their grand opening, they're open now, but they're doing a grand opening event starting the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
That's my car wash, and I can't wait because they're giving away their top-tier wash for free. The first 100 people, I think it is, get a gift bag. The 16th is going to be crazy. So show up November 16th. Can you guys believe it's November already?
No.
Dude, it's November.
No, I can't.
It is November already, and even though you're not single anymore because you caved, we're ready for snowboarding. And
hey guys.
What?
Nothing.
Tell me I'm wrong, man.
You are.
Jerk. The point is we're ready for snowboarding, going to Tahoe without Jake for my birthday. Totally fired up. Cannot wait. What?
You're ruthless, bro.
What do you mean? Anyway, the point is I cannot wait. I'm totally fired up. But that also means snow, salt, get to Quick Quack Car Wash. They're always friendly. I was there the other day. There was a line on Saturday. I think maybe I was there 5 minutes max. Even when there's a line, they move quickly. The people are super friendly. Bring your kids because they have the coolest lights in that tunnel. It's so fun at Quick Quack Car Wash.